Oh, look at that. Welcome in, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Wednesday. Friday for one of us, but it's Wednesday for a couple of us. Great to be here with you guys this morning. Thanks so much for listening on your radio, on your Odyssey app, watching us on the YouTube feed. You can go subscribe. You don't have to pay anything. Just go subscribe to YouTube. Just click subscribe. So that way you're a part of the Ben and Woods online, I guess, on camera community. And you get to see our reactions and our faces, our double chins, or whatever you want to see. I don't know why you would watch, but I think you get more from it. I do. I'll be honest with you. I think to watch people's reactions, to watch when one of us zones out or something, it can be pretty interesting. Well, exactly. And I do it too. We all do it. No one's perfect, certainly. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. And Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor for 20 years. Happy anniversary to you, Benjamin.
Thank you very much.
20 years, buddy.
20 years at Channel 10 on the desk. They honored me last night during our two newscasts, the 11 o'clock and the post-debate 8 o'clock newscast.
Yep.
And it was very nice. Kimberly Hunt said some really nice things about me, and I got to enjoy my moment and soak it all in.
I would like to
20
hear.
years.
Does that feel better when she compliments you than if, like, Woods compliments you?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because she has the authority and credibility of San Diego.
As do I.
As an icon and legend of San Diego.
Just wondering.
All right. What did she say?
She actually called me an icon.
She called you an icon.
She says, you're an icon now.
It's an uncomfortable
Sex symbol.
Yeah, sex symbol, sex pot, if you will. Does it make you uncomfortable when people say those things? Because I did that podcast on Friday night at East Tavern Village and Bowl, and they're kids, man. These young guys from the Divine Sports Gospel podcast. They introduced me as San Diego sports radio legend, and I was like this. I didn't even look up. I just had my head down the whole time. I was like, you guys throwing around the legend word. I've only been doing this 6 years or something. Like, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it at all, really. I really don't like it because I know better. I know better. But icon's a good one. But 20 years, yeah, man, 20 years. I think you've earned that.
It's hard to believe. I still feel kind of like that new kid who had never been in TV a day in his life when I took the job at Channel 10. My first television job was the sports anchor at Channel 10.
It's the same one.
And here I am 20 years later with the same. I'm still in my first TV job. So
you got 20 more in you?
Yeah, do you have 20 more in you?
I don't know that any of us in media have 20 more in us.
Would you sign up for another 20?
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you?
If they let me, I think I would.
But you had to work it. As long as you were alive, you had to.
I had to work.
You had to work it so that you'd be 69 years old.
There's very little I don't like about the job. I mean, I get to go in and I get to talk sports. I get to watch sports every single day. It's what I would be doing anyway if I was at home, but I get paid for it. It really was the reason I went into this business, is that it's something that I was passionate about, would be doing anyway, so why not figure out a way to get paid for it while you're doing it? Which means, of course, when you get paid for doing something you love, you never really work in a day in your life.
What was your most memorable moment or story to cover, good or bad?
Other than the car almost hitting.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't a story that I was covering. Honestly, I mean, it's a bit of an indictment on San Diego's sports scene. It was covering the Little League World Series championship and going to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and being there, following those kids as they brought home the title. I thought that was fantastic. We had a lot of special coverage since it was all on ABC, and it was really special moment seeing those kids win it all. But I've had plenty of bad things to cover as well in 20 years. The passing of Tony Gwynn, the moving of the Chargers, obviously, and that was a long, drawn-out process of having to cover that for years. Definitely not my favorite story, of course, but for the most part, I'd say the good has outweighed the bad, even if the losses have maybe outweighed the wins that I've reported on over the years. Ultimately, in the job, the good has much outweighed the bad.
You know, it's funny too. I was thinking about it yesterday because it's this. I could say the same thing for my career in music radio before. I was on the radio at the worst time in music history, especially if you're a rock and roll fan. And so people, I don't really look back. I look back at some of the fond memories of like hanging out with, people like Hillary and making friends like Jack and Ciro and people like that. But when I look back at like the job, hey, what was the best thing you ever covered? Like, what's the best song I played in 10 years? It was all garbage for the most part. Here's The Offspring coming up next. Again, The Offspring. Got to keep them separated. And I'm like, again, I have to play this. Marcy Playground, Sex and Candy, Capital City, Safe and Sound. I'm going to hear these songs on my deathbed, laying there on my deathbed.
None of those are bad songs.
They're all horrible. And I'm going to be laying on my deathbed. You got to keep them separated. So this era has been the best part for me, at least. The Ben and Woods era certainly has been miles away the best part. And certainly the Padres have helped accentuate that over the last 6 years. What an interesting team to cover. What an interesting team to watch. What an exciting team to watch when they play like they did last night. Still had you on the edge of your seat last night a little bit.
And what was the moment that it became an interesting team?
Manny effing Machado.
Signing with the San Diego
This is Manny
Padres.
Machado.
The day that I will never, ever forget. The day that changed the course of our show, the course of this franchise, the trajectory of all of our careers was that day. We threw caution to the wind. Jim Rome, we're sorry. We're cutting in today. I'm sorry. We're going to stay on the air. We're going to take phone calls. We're going to talk about this. And our pal, Tier 1B George, said on Twitter last night, I think he said it in August, and he reiterated it last night. Manny Machado made it cool to play for the San Diego Padres. And I don't think you can sum it up any better than that.
Made it cool to cheer for the San Diego
100%.
Padres. It really was never cool to be a Padres fan.
Yep.
And then Manny got here. And now 164 home runs later, he has taken his place atop the franchise's all-time list. And we've seen and covered as a show, the three of us, every single one of them.
It's such a cool feeling,
It
man.
is.
It's such a cool feeling, and what a big one last night that, and again, my kids robbed me of the moment live. It turns out.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose. Turns out little kids need to go to bed at some point, and we're working on reading with Bo, and he is just crushing it. Crushing reading right now. Dad took the car to the pod. Dad met Mom at the pod. I'm like, what is this pod that we're talking about? And the name of this little book is called The Bus. The red bus goes to the pod. I will see Dad at the pod. What pod? He asked. He goes, what pod? What is a pod? I go, I don't know. This is your book. But he crushes it. Just nails it. Just rips through it. I'm so proud of him. He's worked so hard. So we read that book. We read another book. Go in, kiss Taylor goodnight, do the whole thing. I come back into the room and I go, what the hell just happened? I look at my phone. I got 100 texts. I'm like, what did I miss? I'm like, oh, I didn't. I did not miss it. So I had to rewind. And I'm watching it in reverse order. I see everyone go crazy. I'm like, oh! I'm like, oh, I missed it live.
Backwards high fives all the way through the dugout.
Honestly, Ben, it's one of the only home runs I didn't get to see live, but it was awesome, dude, and I was so happy for him, and it's just a cool moment, and of course, most importantly, coming in a win against a really, really good pitcher last night and a good team. So, a lot to talk about today, certainly, but I just loved that moment last night. Good for him. And I can't wait to see Manny again and congratulate him in person and tell him what a great player he is and what a joy it's been watching him grind this season to get his numbers to where they are now. It's nothing short. I mean, honestly, like the way he started to where he sits right now, nothing short of a miracle. It's just crazy.
We've got our lifetime friendship contract behind Paul over there with Manny Machado. And while, of course, that's a bit tongue-in-cheek, I do feel a connection to Manny in that way. Not like as a deep personal friend, but as someone who's significant in our life because of the timing, as you said, of our show And, we were just getting kind of started and finding our footing when Manny signed. That was
That's
a big,
the genius of it. They decided they're going to use.
big
They're
moment
going
here.
to. They're not culpable,
Guys.
for fixing games.
It's happening.
What?
Uh-oh.
Jeff Passan, check mark. Breaking. Free agent star Manny Machado has agreed to a deal with the San Diego Padres.
Wow.
League sources tell ESPN.
Shut up.
Oh my God.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
So
It's happening.
Oh my god!
Really?
It's
Check
happening!
mark? Yeah,
Oh
check
my
mark.
god! What do we do? What do I do?
I know, we need some music or something.
Something. Oh my god!
what a moment.
Yeah.
What a moment.
And just very, you two losing your mind, me kind of being the underreactor of the group.
Yeah.
It was very us, that moment. And I think, a defining
Holy
moment
yes word!
It was a blast.
for our show.
We
And-
did it, Manny Machado.
It was a
All
blast.
right, this is
Sorry, Ben. Sorry, man.
That
this
was
is
so
pretty
mad.
big stuff.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm looking at it
Yeah,
myself
Oh
right
my
now.
God. I'm dancing. Okay.
Manny Machado has agreed to a deal with the San Diego Padres. League sources tell ESPN.
Crazy. Got off to such a slow start as a San Diego Padre. And the funny thing is, what's he at, 164 now in his Padres career. Took Colbert 6 years to do it. Took Manny 6 years to do it. One of those seasons was the 60-game season, though. So, I mean, Manny's done it at a really consistent
Manny's
pace.
done it in less games.
Yeah, fewer games.
But Nate Colbert did it in a much tougher
Much
stadium
tougher
to
park,
hit home runs.
100%. That's not to take anything
No.
away from Nate at all. But man, holy smokes, dude! What a cool moment last night. And again, if they lose 6-3, you're like, great, congratulations. But and drove in a couple more runs as well to help them win.
Which
a ball
means they don't
game,
lose.
Which means they don't lose. So it was a really, really nice dub last night. I think a much needed dub for our collective psyches as well.
All right, we'll get into all the game. We'll set our menu coming up in our next segment. It is a Big League Wednesday, so it should be a very good program. I do want to say, of course, a solemn and somber 9/11 to everybody out there. Have not, of course, forgotten 23 years ago today. Never
Bananas.
forget where I was that morning either.
Same.
As I'm sure most of us will always remember that. And those remembrances are going on right now in New York and Washington and Pennsylvania, as they do on this solemn day every single year. But I think for us here in San Diego, we can kind of enjoy what happened last night and have a good normal show for everybody.
No doubt.
All right, we will get into it coming up next. Kelly's got traffic. Appreciate you joining us on this Wednesday on Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Wanted to also offer an early, since I'm going to be gone the next couple of days, early happy birthday wish to Paul Reindl.
Yes.
I'm going to miss it, right? When I'm gone. Your
Yes.
actual birthday is on
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So we won't, none of us will actually be here, but I just say happy birthday, Paulie. And congratulations on first place. Is that true? In your Tier 1 basketball league.
For now.
For now.
Yeah, hopefully we can hold on to that.
It's ominous sounding.
Well, I mean, it's no, we didn't finish the season or
You're not,
anything
yes,
like that.
you're
But
currently
we took over first place.
first place. You're in the pennant race.
Grit squad
and-
last night.
Grit squad.
We were 5-1. We were playing the number 1 team. They were 5-0, and God, they had a couple of good players, but we punched them in the mouth. We were up like 22-7 at one point,
love it.
and they chipped away and got it within like 6 to 8 points, and it was back and forth. A lot of S talking, and
Like that.
loved it. And yeah, great game.
Paulie
Fun.
said there was one guy that
this
wouldn't even
fucking
shake
guy.
hands
So
after
there was-
the game.
This little fat guy. I got into it with him. My boy Tom got
You
into
don't
it
hear
with
that
him.
a lot in basketball.
Zach got into it with him.
If
I
you're
mean,
listening, sir, I apologize for that personal attack.
I don't apologize.
But
You suck. He shot a 3 from like 6 feet behind the line, and you know, you close out, and I kind of like as he landed, I just kind of put an arm on him. He
Yeah.
goes, watch that effing forearm. And I
Whoa,
said,
whoa,
I said,
easy,
that's
Turbo.
called a closeout, guy.
Oh,
and he's
my
like,
God.
no, don't effing touch me. I'm like, well, shoot it again then and see what happens. He didn't shoot the rest of the time I was guarding him. So we go, you know, it was a chippy game. But I mean, look, it's a lot easier after you win. We go shake hands and all that. They had one guy that just lit.
Maybe he just doesn't
everybody
like to
up.
be touched.
Well, he probably shouldn't be playing sports.
Sounds
then.
like
Well, it sounded like he didn't
sounds like he-
Paulie touching
He doesn't
his
like
chest.
any or his hand.
Or
That's
his hand.
afterwards. He just doesn't like to be touched.
Yeah. So we go to shake hands, you know, handshake line, and 3 of us are like, "Where's that guy? Where is he? I want to make sure he knows. Hey, good game, buddy."
Yeah.
He had a shirt over his head,
Hoodie.
pretending to like take off his shoes off in the corner. Totally coward move.
I hate a sore loser, man. I hate a sore loser as much as anything. If you whip my ass up and down the field, not up the court because you're not going to see me on the court, but on the baseball field, you whip my ass, I will go right to you and say, bro, you pitched your ass off today. You absolutely pitched your ass off today. Great job.
Yeah.
I hate a sore loser.
That guy
man.
probably put up close to 40 points. I mean, he was unbelievable, and we just all our defensive energy was focused on him,
hate that,
and
dude.
it worked. But you know,
Listen, be better, dude. It's adult ball. Just be better. It's fun to
Settle down.
talk some smack, but just learn how to lose too, bud.
We may have a sore loser story later in the show today, talking about the Phillies and Tampa Bay Rays game.
Man.
Situation there, a little benches clearing incident we can talk about, go through our other activities and pennant race action. But first, coming up, before we set the menu, Paulie wanted to pay off the Incorporator because we had Jesse Agler on yesterday. And Woodsy, you gave him the Incorporator word. Let's give the setup again. Everybody, we're going to go a little more traditional
Chick-fil-A.
today.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, the nugget of the game.
The nugget of the game. That was fantastic.
USOB.
No, you could also work Chick-fil-A into this one, I think.
That's true.
Yeah.
You actually could.
Gentacular.
Gentacular. Gentacular is I lost it.
How's it
here is.
spelled?
Pertaining to breakfast. Gentacular.
Does it start with a G or a J?
A J. Gentacular.
Spectacular.
Okay.
So we go to the top of the 3rd inning last night in Seattle. Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr.
So yeah, June 5th, the last time the Padres played a road game in their own time zone. That was the nugget of the game presented by Chick-fil-A San Diego. With 21 restaurants in San Diego, you're never too far from the home of the original chicken sandwich. Come try the honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich for a limited time. We've had, rush hour baseball this year. We've had even in Korea, pre-gentacular baseball.
Oh, my God.
All hours of the day and night here in 2024.
Crushed it.
Runner on first, 1 out
Still
for a
got
rise.
the read in for Chick-fil-A.
I was I thought he was going to go with that honey pimento is not exactly a gentacular
Yeah,
sandwich.
you
It's more
could
for
do that.
later in the day. You want the gentacular options, you go with like the biscuits.
Have you had
in
it?
the morning? I have had the honey pimento sandwich.
It's really good.
I had one and I will not allow myself another one.
Because
Yeah,
it's
I had
really, really,
It's indulgent, but it was
yes.
good.
It's sensual. actually, to eat that sandwich.
It's I don't know that the calories are worth it at the end of the day. It's like a 2,000 calorie
Is it really?
sandwich. It's insane. It's so good though.
It's so good.
All right, coming up on the program today, we'll start with our Padres wrap-up in our next segment. Lots to get to, not just Manny's milestone home run, but obviously a huge game for Fernando Tatis Jr. Been waiting for that since his return from the injured list, and a decent outing from Yu Darvish as well. We'll talk about everything that happened last night in Seattle and avoiding that 3-game losing streak that Woods was adamant about needing to avoid.
Yeah.
Padres did that, in fact, and we'll discuss the game. It is a Big League Wednesday. Our guests include Adam Jones at 7:35, Bret Boone at 8:35, and we have our fingers crossed, just the old throw it out there on Twitter, because Paulie, who makes that great Big League Wednesday graphic, Bret Boone retweeted it last night, saying, knowing, hey, he's going to be on the show. And then Mike Cameron responded, goes, oh, this is so cool. And we said, well, come on the show. And Paulie's
You can
reached
be a part
out
of Big
to him.
League Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
Love to have former both Padre and Mariner Mike Cameron on the show. Would be great, but I don't think he's gotten back to Paulie yet, so we're just kind of crossing our fingers on that one. But if we could add to a Big League Wednesday with another big leaguer.
Or tomorrow when you're gone.
Be very cool. Well, anytime would be great time.
Friday when you're also gone.
Either way. Our usual features, of course, Take on Woods and Don't Do This in our 7 o'clock hour. And then Reindl Report in our 9 o'clock hour. And we've got more Parker McCollum tickets to give away as well. Coming to Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater on October 25th. Give away another pair of concert tickets on the program today. And then get you ready for the final game of the 2-game series. Padres could, kind of that weird situation where they got swept here, too, by the Mariners. Now trying to return the favor in Seattle and have the road team win every single game of the season series.
Fine by me.
That'd be nice.
That'd be really nice.
Absolutely would be nice to see the Padres go. Although it wasn't entirely a road game for the Padres yesterday.
Didn't sound like one.
If you were kind of listening and watching, there was, I think the crowd was around 6,000. Sammy said last night. I heard at the end of the game, and there were a lot of Padres fans up there yesterday for the game.
I mean, they started a Manny chant, and it sounded like it was at Petco Park. It was pretty incredible. So, Padres fans.
Where have they all come from? Where do you think? What's that? I mean, are these new Padres fans who didn't exist before the last few years?
Probably.
Is it because of Manny and Tatis? Is it the uniforms? What has brought so many people?
General manager, the drama with different managers coming in, expectations, superstar players, guys getting hurt, blah blah blah. It's been must see TV. I mean, my dad's a Yankee fan still, but I think he is more than the Yankees, because if you watch the Yankees, they're just not that exciting of a team at all, and they're just not. And every day he texts me. He's texting me about, oh my God, what an incredible walk-off. And I'm like, I'm telling you, they get in your bloodstream and kind of take over.
There does seem to be a phenomenon that the Padres are they're like playing a different sport.
Yeah, they really are.
Some of the other teams. I mean, you listen to other broadcasts or TV telecasts of games, and they do sound kind of boring sometimes. But it never is with Jesse and Tony or Don and Mud. It's always lively, entertaining. The games tend to be dramatic, both heartbreaking and exhilarating when the Padres play.
Yeah.
It's like the best form of baseball, and it has been for a few years.
Yeah.
Not the best in terms of always winning and success and championships, but like the entertainment value of San Diego Padres baseball has been through the roof the last few years.
They've been a reality show, and it's a shame that the Netflix special that we're going to see is going to be in regards to the Boston Red Sox. I think there's some interesting storylines, but they really dropped the ball by not setting up the Netflix crew here about 3 years ago. 3-4 years ago. I mean, it'd be through the roof.
Oh,
I mean, people would love to see
the story
that.
arc of the seasons. I mean, when they fail spectacularly.
Correct.
When they succeed spectacularly.
Yeah. So
and,
I think
it's been that way for years now.
So I think, and a lot of people have left San Diego and moved up to Washington. A lot of people traveled for the games. Yeah, man, I think there's Padres fans everywhere. You see it all the time, and I think it has a lot to do with Fernando Tatis Jr. I think it has a lot to do with Jackson Merrill. I think it has a lot to do with Manny Machado, and on and on you go. But I think it had a lot to do with Juan Soto, and I think it has a lot to do with AJ Preller. Of bringing in some star power here.
Nice piece by Ken Rosenthal this morning in The Athletic on the general manager of the San Diego Padres. Yeah, just dropped this morning on the job that he's done this year. We can talk about that and more, but our Padres wrap-up, if you missed any of the radio highlights of last night's game, you're in for a treat. They are coming up next with Bennett Woods here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Before we get into the wrap-up, in case you missed it late, just quickly updating the wild card standings. Padres continue, of course, to lead the National League wild card. Diamondbacks remain 1.5 game behind, and then the Mets and Braves are 2.5 games behind the Padres, 2 games behind the Diamondbacks, tied for the third and final wild card spot in the National League. The Mets were the only team to lose of those 4 last night, and I feel like that's going to be a common occurrence that, like, 3 of the 4 teams are going to win most days, but someone's probably going to lose, and you just don't want to be that one because as hot as the Mets are, and they are the hottest team over the last couple of weeks in baseball. They just had a 9-game winning streak. You feel really bad the day that you lose and everybody else wins.
It's a horrible, sinking feeling.
It's got to be the worst feeling, even though there's no reason for the Mets to panic. Again, most people yesterday said, yeah, they look like they're going to just roll and just keep going all the way to the finish line, and now they lose a game to everybody, and I'm sure Mets fans are going like, uh-oh, here we go. It'll happen to the Padres one day.
Oh, yeah.
Between now and the end of the season. They will lose a game, and probably 2 or 3 of those other teams will win, and you'll drop one. So got to savor the days when you win and the games that you pick up the rest of the way. Last night was a good one in Seattle for the Padres. We'll go through our Padres wrap-up. All the highlights right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. A couple things to mention here, guys. Looks like a possible brush fire starting up westbound 8 just before College. Smoke visible from the right shoulder. And might still see some slowing in the North County. Southbound 15 past Carmel Mountain Road. Earlier big rig fire. It's been out for a while, but they're doing a little cleanup around that. So just watch out for a little slowing. That's southbound 15 past Carmel Mountain Road. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fact.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Oh, my God, I'm so stiff.
Miss any of the Padres win yesterday? Ben and Woods didn't.
What up, crew?
We've got you covered with all of the highlights.
I like it when the Padres win.
Yeah! Yeah!
It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
Yeah!
Give me a do damage.
Do damage!
Field, and this pitch hit in the air to deep right field. Tatis is back. He's going to watch, and it's going to go. Long home run to right for Cal Raleigh. 30th of the season, and the Mariners take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. Darvish is launched in the air down the right field line. If it's fair, it's gone, and it is a home run down the right field line. Second of the night for the Mariners. They've got a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the second inning. First pitch, Tatis lines it in the air to right field and deep. Robles is back. He's going to turn to watch. It's going to go! 3-run homer the other way for Fernando Tatis Jr. And the Padres hop on top. It's 3-2. Fires, Manny swings, hits it in the air to center field and deep. Rodriguez is back. He will watch. It's going to go! Home run history for Manny Machado. His 164th in a Padre uniform. Now the most prolific home run hitter in the history of the San Diego Padres. Machado, first pitch swinging, lines one off of both and into center field base hit. First run, Solano has scored. Right behind him, Arise, a 2-run single for Manny. I think it got both on the back or the shoulder, and then just kind of shot out into center field. 7-2. Now the Padre lead here in the 7th inning. And Crawford hits it on the ground the other way. That's a fair ball up the third baseline. Turn around in third. He's going to score. Profar's throw will go into third base. An RBI single for J.P. Crawford. And the Padre lead is now 7-3. Fires and a ground ball to shortstop. Bogart's on the backhand. His second one. Cronenworth's turn to first is in time. And a double play to end the inning. 0-2 pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3. 100-mile-an-hour heater as Suarez blows that one past J-Rod to earn the save and end the game. Padres over the Mariners tonight, 7-3. Historic evening for Manny Machado, and an excellent start from Yu Darvish as the Pods set themselves up for a potential 2-game sweep here tomorrow night.
You know what I saw about that at bat was the game will reward you, not all the time, but rewards you a lot when you're trying to do the right thing. You know, we got a leadoff double by Pro, and he's grinding to really just make sure he moves him over, and he fouled off some really tough pitches. And then he got something that he could handle with the right intent, and he smoked it for the club record, passing Mr. Colbert. So congratulations to Manny on a couple fronts. You know, not only the franchise record for home runs, which we celebrate in the clubhouse, rightfully so, and what an accomplishment from a great player, but also off the field, it's a really nice day for Manny as well, being the nominee for us, the rightful Roberto Clemente nominee for our club, and I get the privilege of watching him behind the scenes and how good he is with especially kids, and he just does a lot of things for our community. So well deserved, and hope he wins the whole thing.
Unreal night.
An individual milestone, but also a team milestone last night. Win number 82 for the San Diego Padres, which clinches the team's third straight winning season. And it is just the second time, Padres fans, in the history of your ball club that they have had 3 consecutive winning seasons.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
And last year doesn't feel like a winning season by any stretch of the imagination when you salvage an 82-80 record after a disappointing year. But, technically they had a winning record last year, and only 2005, 6, and 7. Well, technically I think it was 4 through 7, so they did it twice in that little 4-year span. But this is the second time in a different era that the Padres have won. Have a winning record in 3 straight years.
It's a lot to like about last night's game, and I thought, Yu Darvish was on the Martin Perez plan last night of bend but don't break, a couple of solo shots, don't kill you at all. You have the offensive firepower to come back. Did not panic early, didn't like the pitch Cal Raleigh hit out, just kind of floated up there, and of course he's going to make you pay when you do that. But I thought other than that, man, you got into some jams and got out of some jams. Dotted the fastball when he needed to, spun it like he always does, and he earned a win. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, got the dub. So.
And a milestone win as well, as Mike Schilt pointed out afterwards. It was his 201st career victory combined between Japan and the United States. And you remember it was months ago that he got number 200, and they made a big deal about that. But at the time, if you'll remember, he was also one behind Hideo Nomo, his idol and inspiration growing up, for second all-time on Japanese and U.S. combined wins. So he ties Nomo at 201. I thought it's kind of similar to his first start, actually, in that he looked good at times and then would leave a pitch, in the middle, and he gave up one in the first and one in the second. And remember, he did that in his first start, and then he gave up another one in the third, and they took him out of the game. This time he got out of the jam and was able to make it through 5 innings. He was very efficient. His pitch count was certainly...
Yep.
To the point where I thought maybe he'd even come back in the 6th inning, but Mike Schilt doing his aggressive, hey, I've got my bullpen, I'm gonna use it, I'm gonna unleash it, and started with Estrada, and then went to the Scott, and then Adam. We heard that highlight. What a huge moment that was. After the Padres seemingly had the game in control, and they're up 7-2, Taylor Scott comes in and was not bad. Tanner Scott comes in. Was not bad, but got squeezed by the umpire. He walked the first guy, that's on him. Then he gave up a bloop. Then he got squeezed by the umpire and gave up an opposite field, just a little, in on the hand single, and then another squeeze. And the bases are all of a sudden loaded. And they've got the tying run coming to the plate. There's one out, and the Mariners are thinking, we can come back and get into this game.
Yep.
And Jason Adam coming and getting that double play was absolutely huge.
Fantastic, man. And yeah, Tanner Scott, I don't know... It certainly didn't seem he wasn't real demonstrative about the missed calls, and he actually said after the game, he said, he's the judge of it. I can't say anything about it. It is what it is. You get some calls, you don't get some. And was a lot more diplomatic talking about it after the game than I certainly was while watching the game, screaming at Laz Diaz behind the plate. I will say this, though. A couple calls went the Padres' way as well. I think
Diaz was bad and inconsistent.
I think
especially just inconsistent both ways.
Well, the strike three when they rang up Arozarena was the outside. Manny had two horrible calls against him. That
one in the at bat where he hit the home run.
In the home run, and then he's like fighting those pitches off, gets one middle in, hammers it, and breaks the record. So yeah, really good, tough game. I thought Luis Arraez again. Luis Arraez is deserving of another discussion at some point because I still see discourse about Luis Arraez, who just continues to get on base and set the table for the guys behind him, and he's
9 hits in the last 3 games, 3.33.
He's remarkable to watch. Again, I just boil it down to this. I know he's not great defensively. I know that. I know he's not a slug guy. Okay, like he knows what he's good at. He's great at the hardest thing about the game of baseball. He's elite at the hardest thing to do in the game. He's elite at it. That, to me, says you're very valuable. We've lost a little bit of the plot here as we dive deep into OPS and OPS plus. His slugging numbers aren't great. Yeah, he's not a slugger. He's a hitter. He hits. He doesn't strike out. Puts the ball in play. It's such a valuable skill. And I struggle every time I see. I don't wade into the discussion anymore, but because I think everyone knows you should know the value that a guy like that brings to your team.
He
extends innings. They want to bunt guys over in front of him so that he can get them in. That's what he does, or move guys over. He just doesn't care.
He's like an extremely useful tool.
Yeah,
but you don't always need. Sometimes, like if you have a can opener, it just sits there most of the time. But when you need to open a can, there's nothing else that you would want.
Nothing else can do it.
A can opener. And when you need someone to get a hit, a single, make contact, not strike out, he's the best tool in baseball. Now, yeah, a lot of the time, the rest of the time when he's out in the field, he's as average or below average of a baseball player, out there.
Which,
if you need a home run, you're not going to get one from him. But when you need a hit, he's the best tool available in baseball.
There's a lot of average or below average defenders in Major League Baseball. There's a lot. None of them hit like Luis Arraez. None of them. And they're all everyday players on teams. What he lacks in slug and what he lacks in defense or running, whatever it is, he makes up for with his hitting. And watching him come up to the plate, the confidence that I have in him that he's going to get a knock off George Kirby or Max Scherzer or Clayton Kershaw or Brusdar Graterol, it doesn't matter. He comes up, he's an elite hitter.
I don't consider him a future Hall of Famer the way I did Tony Gwynn. I think there's a difference there. The hitting skills are somewhat similar. Tony was a more complete player and I think an even better hitter than Arraez was. But, he may end up with who knows how many batting titles in his career. Tony had 8. Arraez is going for his third in a row and starting to put a little distance between him and the rest of the field in the National League. Three batting titles, 3 different teams in 3 seasons. I don't think has ever been done in baseball history. So he's definitely going to do something very unique this year if he continues on this pace.
I couldn't love. I mean, there's so much to love about this team, like individual, right? Like you look at. I'll say this. I love watching Jake Cronenworth play baseball. I love it. I love whatever position he's at. I just love watching him play. Is he the best player on the field? No. I love watching him play. There's something about him, the way he picks the ball, the way he turned that ridiculous double play last night, the way he can play multiple positions, the way he runs. I love the way he plays the game. I love watching Manny Machado hit home runs. I love watching Manny Machado play third base. I love watching Luis Arraez hit. I love it. It's so fascinating to me as somebody that could never hit to watch him do what he does at that level is mind-blowing.
And despite all of those players that you enjoy watching, I would still contend that the most exciting player on the field for the Padres remains Fernando Tatis Jr.
Correct.
When he's healthy. And he showed again why last night, not just with the home run, which was a Tatis special, an opposite field shot, the kind of home runs that only a serious power hitter can do going that way. But the play that he made then in the fourth inning to cut down Polanco at second base, trying to stretch a single to a double, was so incredibly athletic, remarkable, instinctive, and perfect. That there's not much more that we need to say about it. You all saw it. I mean, I think Sam Levitt on the postgame show said, I don't know if there's another right fielder in the game that can actually make that specific play.
Yeah.
Because he almost looked like a shortstop making a play to his right, then throwing across his body to first base, but he did it from right field, which is even harder than doing it in the infield.
He can beat you a million different ways. Jackson Merrill's another one. I love watching him play the game of baseball. And he's probably a more he's a more complete player than Luis Ariz is. It does not take anything away from what Luis Ariz does for me. I love the way he hits the ball. You kill for a guy like that on your team. Whether it's little league, adult league, high school, you murder for a guy that can do that. I mean, it's just such a brilliant skill. And it's the hardest thing to do in sports, and really he's top 2 at doing it. So the discourse, I don't understand. I do understand the numbers. I understand that. I see your numbers. I see your WAR and your OPS plus, and I'm not discounting them. I love the players that excel in those areas as well. I do. But this guy, watching him hit is a revelation, especially in today's game. It's a revelation. You know how hard it is not to strike out in that league for that long? And it's not like he's hitting squibbers back to the mound every time.
Those people that have that opinion of Ariz, like, how would they feel about Tony Gwynn?
I don't know. Because he hit more doubles, maybe he's better. But he played great right field, and he's more complete. I get that.
But it's the same idea, at least at the plate. Like, I mean, he is a contact hitter.
It's the same approach. Yep. Just trying
not striking out, giving you a great at bat every single time. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I never will. As long as he keeps doing what he's doing, getting 3 hits a night, I won't understand what you're upset about. I really won't.
There's one other player that we haven't mentioned that I think was extremely critical to the game last night. Didn't do anything special on the field. In fact, I think he went 0 for 4 with a strikeout and maybe a couple of grounded and double plays. Yet, don't know if the Padres win without him.
True.
We'll get to that and take on Woods coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. Line out, GIDP, GIDP,
Yeah.
strikeout.
Not the best night at the Dish.
No, not at all. In fact, you can already hear the fans grumbling. But to me, one of the stars of the game and the reasons the Padres won last night was Xander Bogaerts.
That's a hot.
It's not that hot of a
That's a
take.
hot.
It's not that hot of a take.
It is
because
it's Stephen A. Smith-esque.
by moving over to shortstop, he got Donovan Solano's bat into the lineup. And Solano is the one who started the rally that gave them the lead with the 3-run home run by Fernando Tatis Jr.
So then why wouldn't you just say Solano had the night because he had a couple hits, he had a couple really nice picks over at first.
He did.
You want it to be saucy.
I'm going next level. Because had
4K.
Had Xander not been at shortstop, then Mason McCoy is probably at shortstop, struggling bat, and Solano is on the bench.
McCoy could have done that at the plate, though, and most likely would have.
Xander did.
Yes.
But Solano then would not have been in the lineup.
Correct.
Which means he would not have been there to start that rally, get the second hit, and play a really solid game yesterday for the San Diego Padres.
Made the plays he needed to make, turned a couple double plays. I mean, I think when we kicked around the idea when Kim first went down, it did make more sense to me that if we thought it was going to be 10 days, doesn't make a lot of sense to flip-flop. But now that it looks like Kim may not be coming back at all, yes, this should be the permanent move. And Donovan Solano, again, played a great game. That pick he made on Manny's throw, it is not an easy pick by any stretch, especially for a guy that doesn't play a lot of first
And if he doesn't
base.
make it, the Mariners tie the game.
Yes.
And, the momentum that you had just grabbed kind of dissipates a little bit. It was an important moment in that game and a great pick.
Yeah. Good, really, really solid-looking lineup. And, somebody made the point last night. They said, how annoying is it if you're a pitcher and you're getting through that lineup and you're like, good God, man, Donovan Solano's in the 8-hole or whatever. Like, I got Jackson Merrill, Donovan Solano now. Like, Donovan Solano's pesky as hell, 2-strike hits, great AB, fouls pitches off at an incredible rate, and then just pokes one out there. You're like, God dang, dude, the 8-hole, I should be able to let up a little bit.
I mean, it was not that long ago. 7, 8, 9 were
dead.
Like, go grab a beer.
Dead.
It is the automatic, just 3 outs.
You know how many times, Paulie, I've rushed my kids to bed when the 7, 8, 9. All right, let's go. Let's hit it. We're going to read a book real quick, brush our teeth,
here.
not miss a damn thing.
Now you have Merrill, Solano, and Higgy.
It's dirty.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it's absolutely or Merrill, Solano,
last night.
Diaz. Right. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like you feel it just makes the lineup just so.
I mean, the rookie of the year in the 7-hole is just insane.
So much peskier.
And I, for Xander, I don't want to discount the fact that there may be a mental aspect, a difficulty in once again switching positions in the middle of the season that may negatively, for whatever reason, impact him a bit at the plate.
Did not affect his defense.
But he played good defense.
Yep.
And do it now, because there's a chance, you talked about it yesterday, that we won't see Ha-Sung Kim again. And if the Padres go on a playoff run, it likely could be with Xander Bogaerts as your shortstop. And if they want to go deep, Xander is going to have to step up at some point and be part of that. And he's done it before. He's won World Series titles before. I'm glad they're not waiting until like the last week of the season to make this switch. Do it now, and by the time you do get to the October games, hopefully Xander will be like feeling pretty comfortable again in, his entire game after moving back to shortstop. So.
Yeah, and look, I understand, man. Fans, I've seen a lot of it. Nobody wants to hear about feelings or anything like that. So I understand your perspective on that. They are human beings. You have to remember that at the end of the day. And, making the switch earlier in the season was not a comfortable scene for him. I'm glad that he's back there. I don't really want to talk about it anymore. I think that should be the lineup, going forward, certainly. David Peralta's still going to get some swings here and there. But yeah, I loved this last night, and it was such a grindy lineup, and they performed. And Xander didn't do much at the plate, killed a couple rallies, but played good defense, got the win. It's all that matters. That should be what it looks like going forward.
All right, is the NL West maybe creeping back into play? Want to talk about that. First, we need a contestant for Take on Woods. Phone lines are open if you want to join us and see if you can match what I think 3 people have already done this month and get their name into the hopper for the getaway to Las Vegas in our musical trivia challenge. Call right now, 833-288-0973, 0.97.3. We'll get to our game in just a couple of minutes. Padres now just 4.5 games behind the Dodgers in the NL West after the Cubs got a 6-3 win last night at Dodger Stadium. Yoshinobu Yamamoto returned. If you're a Dodgers fan, you're probably feeling at least decent about what he did. 4 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 8 strikeouts.
Looked pretty nasty.
You know, pitch count, they were careful with him. They took him out, and the Cubs rallied against an ever shakier Dodgers bullpen that has got to be a legitimate concern
It's a
in L.A.
Bad defense, too, that let the Cubs right back in the game. So, yeah, not a great night at Chavez Latrine last night for sure.
So, Cubs get the 6-3 win in the All-Japan start with Shota Imanaga going 6 and Yamamoto looking good in his return. But that does give the Padres at least that glimmer. They'd gone down to like 1.something% in Fangraphs a couple of days ago with their chances to win the NL West. Picking up a game and a half in the last 2 days when you're off and just 1 win gives you that hope, knowing you got 3 against the Dodgers. I mean, if you're within 3 or 4 games, you at least have a shot going into the last week of the season. So they've kind of put themselves at least back into a point where you can consider it.
Well, they got Bobby Miller going today, who has
been struggling.
He's not been good. So, I mean, the Cubs have a chance to sweep the Dodgers at home. That's a pretty big deal.
The Diamondbacks took care of business, got some power, 2 home runs from Christian Walker. They've got Jock Peterson went deep, and Zach Gallen pitched 5 shutout innings as they beat the Rangers 6-0 last night. So they remain a half game behind the Padres. Thank you to the Blue Jays, who handed David Peterson just his second loss of the season as they beat the New York Mets 6-2, just the second loss for the Mets in their last 12 games, I think, but cost them a game in the wild card standings, and they drop into a tie with the Braves. No thanks to Mackenzie Gore, who gave up.
God.
He also had some defensive troubles behind him. He gave up 7 runs, but just 2 of them were earned, and the Braves just annihilated the Nats 12-0. Now, that could have been a costly win, though, for Atlanta. Did you see this? Reynaldo Lopez had to leave the game after just 1 inning.
Oh, no, I did not see
with
that.
With shoulder tightness. He threw a pitch, and then all of a sudden his velocity went from like 97 to 90. And that's extremely concerning because he's been
awesome.
One of the most effective starters for the Braves, and he's picking up the slack with all the injuries.
When he was a converted reliever as well, so you wonder, has he hit the wall after throwing so many pitches, this season? That really is the first time he's done that before. So interesting stuff moving forward. I every night I think I have an idea of who's going to be the team that doesn't make it out of those 4, and then every night it changes. So it's just kind of it's kind of confounding every night to watch.
So the Padres with the win, their magic number over the Braves to clinch a playoff spot is down to 14 now, with 16 games remaining in the season, including 1 more tonight against the Seattle Mariners. Michael King taking the mound again against Brian Wu, and it's again a 6:40 start, 5:40 Eco Water SoCal pregame show with Sam Levitt as the Padres try to return the favor and sweep Seattle, and then another day off tomorrow. So plenty of chance. I mean, I wasn't surprised that Mike Schilt went with the aggressive bullpen, knowing day off on Monday, day off on Thursday, you can go for it. And Robert Suarez, we didn't bring him up, he gave up that line drive in the 8th with the runners on that was a little nervous. Looked pretty good in the 9th.
He did.
And got his 32nd save of the season, a 4-out one. Hasn't been a 4-out save for Robert Suarez in a while, but aggressive bullpen management by Mike Schilt once again.
Yeah, you shouldn't be surprised at this point.
No.
This is what they're going to do with the off days built in.
That's all you're going to get.
It's all you're going to get.
I know.
You're going to get a lot of ass.
I know you worry about overuse and what are the consequences of keeping going to your highest leverage guys, but so far the consequences have mostly been wins, and I like those consequences.
Yeah, those are good
of using your highest leverage relievers.
Yep.
So that's the day in the wild card race. We can talk about some of the other stuff in baseball a little bit later. Right now, though, let's get to it. It is time to take on Woods. Paulie's giving me some puns because our contestant is Izzy. Is he going to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas? Wasn't that funny, Izzy? I like the laugh, though. Thank you very much. Good morning to you.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
it going?
I like Izzy.
Yeah, I do
I'm pulling
too.
for you, Izzy.
I do too. All right, Izzy, you're our
Get you a
contestant. Woods has left the studio. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. And what you're playing for is a chance to qualify for our grand prize 2-night stay at the Wynn or Encore Las Vegas and 2 tickets to see Awakening, the thrilling spectacle at the Wynn. It is an epic battle with acrobats, choreography, and comedy as well. Tickets are on sale now at awakening.com. All right, we'll give you a little advantage here. Keep Woodsy in the dark, give you the category choices. For Izzy, we have an iffy category. Those are song titles that begin with the word if. You can choose below the waist, songs that include a lower half body part in the title. And we've got another little category. After yesterday's little category, we've got 5 more song titles that include the word little. So an iffy category below the waist or another little category. Izzy?
Let's go another little category.
Another little category. All right. Second straight day. 5 more song titles. Each of them include the word little. I think this one's a little tougher than yesterday's. We'll see. 60 seconds to answer as many as you can. We'll compare your score to Woods. If you beat or tie him, we'll put you into the drawing for Las Vegas. First questions are 2-second song. You need to give me that title that includes the word little and the artist to score the point. Izzy, ready to play? You tell me, Izzy.
Ready.
He is ready.
Ready.
Paul, you ready?
I is.
You is. All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. The category, another little category. Good luck, Izzy. Let's take on Woods.
Give it a little bit.
Bye.
Pass.
Pass. Bob Marley sings Every Little Thing Is Gonna Be All Right, in which signature 1980 hit?
3 Little Birds.
Correct. Singer Chris Barron says which 1992 debut hit for the Spin Doctors is about a malignant narcissist?
Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
Correct. Sting sings EO more than a dozen times, in which 1981 hit for the Police?
Pass.
British pop duo...
Every little thing she does is magic.
Correct. British pop duo Erasure repeats the phrase, that you gimme no, that you gimme no, in which signature 1988 hit?
Pass.
Go back to our 2-second song. You got the title. Who's the artist?
Damn it. I don't know.
British pop duo Erasure repeats the phrase, that you gimme no, that you gimme no, in which signature 19... Hey! 3.5. 3.5. You were playing... I thought it was a good game by Izzy, though. That's Supertramp, is give a little bit. You got 3 Little Birds, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. Eraser's song is A Little Respect.
I think
I don't know.
I think that 2-second song
Could
might
be
the
4-3.
difference.
I could be. We'll see. All right, we got a fun contestant today. Izzy.
Okay.
The
Well,
question
I'm a fun
now
guy.
is he going to win
God.
or not?
Just gonna wait for you to get it in. I'm a fun guy too. Let's go.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. No category for Woods. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Izzy.
Give a little bit by REO Speedwagon.
Incorrect. Bob Marley sings Every Little Thing Is Gonna Be All Right, in which signature
3 Little Birds.
Correct. Singer Chris Barron says which 1992 debut hit for the Spin Doctors is about a malignant narcissist?
2 Princes.
Incorrect. Sting sings EO more than a dozen times, in which 1981 hit for the Police?
I just listened to it the other day. EO, EO. Spirits in the Material World.
Incorrect.
Son of a
British
bitch!
pop duo Erasure repeats the phrase, that you gimme no, that you gimme no, in which signature 1988 hit?
Kick my taint.
You have lost big time to
badly.
Izzy. Congratulations. The answer is
What
yes.
happened? What's the category?
Just like yesterday, it's another little category. So you got
Supertramp.
It's Supertramp. You got 3 Little Birds. Spin Doctors is little Miss Can't Be Wrong. Every Little
Hannah.
Thing She Does Is Magic.
Hannah.
And A Little Respect by Erasure.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good one. Izzy, congratulations. Let's congratulate you on the air. Nice job, Izzy.
Izzy,
Appreciate it.
well done.
Thank you. Thanks, Woods.
You bet, buddy.
All right, hang on the line, Paul.
course I
I'll
get
get your information during the break.
Good night's sleep and get just bodied.
Didn't help
It's been a
today.
rough month.
This has been,
Why don't you both shut
The
your
pennant
pie
race
holes?
is
How about
here,
that?
and Woods is just bleeding games in the standings. Your huge lead that you built all summer is evaporating.
Damn it!
It's going to come down to that last week in September.
Your magic number remains
Limitless.
unchanged
Yeah.
every single day.
Stays here, just 1 and 1. Hey, don't call it a roller coaster, okay? Don't call it a roller coaster.
Not going to
Are you
going to
alibiing right
alibi
now?
anything
I
here?
can't alibi. I'm getting my ass kicked here. All right? Jeez.
All right.
That's correct.
I'll be gone the next 2 days. Paulie has something fun set up for our games the next couple of days.
Oh, I did not know this.
Yes, I know.
I don't think Woods is going
You
to
have
like it.
legitimately
Oh,
been left in the
great.
dark on this one.
God.
But it was a great idea, and you'll just have to tune in tomorrow and Friday
All right.
to find out how to qualify for Las Vegas when I'm not here.
You think you'd want to tell the host so
Nope.
that I can be prepared?
Yeah, you know,
For
you'd
the
think you'd
time.
want to tell the host about things.
I don't know.
Is that how
Welcome
we
to
do
my
things on this
world.
show? I don't.
Welcome to my world.
All right. I'll just roll with the punches then.
All right, we were just talking about the Dodgers bullpen. They're going to make an appearance in Don't Do This, correct?
Yeah, every when you fight a wall, the wall's always going to win. Just so you know, it happened to one of the Dodgers pitchers.
The law and the wall.
Yeah, I fought the wall, and the wall won.
Coming
It
up
always does.
next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. I fought the wall, and the wall won.
Well, more like solid object.
Okay.
Is what I heard. You want me to get us started?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Los Angeles Dodgers reliever Anthony Banda was placed on the IL on Thursday, the result of a hairline fracture in his left hand, sustained when he hit, quote, a solid object. So he did not have a good outing on Monday night, gave up 2 runs, 3 hits.
So it could be a refrigerator.
Yeah, solid object. Could
a
be
locker door.
Ooh, yeah. Maybe a cooler.
A cooler, yeah.
Pretty solid.
They usually kick a cooler.
They usually
You don't
kick
punch.
the cooler.
Unless it's one of those on a table that maybe you punch it like a...
Also, don't if you're gonna do it, don't right in a pennant race.
But your non-pitching hand.
Your non-pitching
at least.
hand. Crash Davis taught you that. You hit me with your right hand. You hit me with your left.
Get in a fight with a drunk at a bar. You don't hit him
And
with
with
your
your pitching
throwing
hand.
hand.
Yeah, idiot. I can't keep giving you this advice. So Dave Roberts says, I know it's something he regrets. We all regret it. Giving no estimate on when he could return. Had pitched pretty well. Pitched in 46 games with a 3.23 ERA, 50 strikeouts, left-handed option out of the bullpen. But, yeah, man, it. The thing is you probably, a lot of these guys probably get away with it 3 or 4 times of doing it, and nothing happens. But it's that one time when it sneaks up to get you. You know, you kick a cooler, whatever, and it's over, man. Unsung Kim did it. I mean, it happens all the time. Just got to find a better way to release your frustration.
Really bad timing this time of year, though.
They should put a punching bag in locker rooms. Just
I bet someone thought of that. Yeah,
not one of the real heavy bags.
How about that video game where the bag just drops in, you can see your point total?
I feel like I'd break my wrist doing that.
I would hit the hard plastic part, guaranteed.
Guaranteed, yeah.
These guys, they reach so far back. Maybe even get a running start. I'm like, how do you not hit?
Put a punching bag or a rage room type scene down there and let them go ham.
Padres fans remember well Kevin Brown, even in his one season, which was a phenomenally good season. He had a couple of bad starts, though, and he would be incredibly destructive when that would happen.
Yeah,
he'd
rip
take a bat,
bathrooms and
to like urinals and light fixtures, and he just and they'd bill him for it later, but he didn't mind. But he usually did with a bat. He'd grab a bat and just start wrecking things in the clubhouse if things did not go well in his start. Which kind of brings us here to our second story. Maybe that's a better way to react when you struggle than what Edwin Uceta did of the Tampa Bay Rays. Faced him not that long ago. A really nasty reliever, if I remember correctly. He had an ERA of 0.79 entering last night's game against the Philadelphia Phillies. But as generally happens at least once a year, he struggled badly against the Phillies. Gave up a tie-breaking 2-run double to Cal Stevenson, then gave up a Buddy Kennedy RBI single, then a 2-run Trey Turner home run, and then a Bryce Harper double. And if you were watching, you could just see, he's agitated at that point.
Yep.
He is agitated as Nick Castellanos stepped to the plate. No, it wasn't a deep drive to left field this time. He drilled Castellanos
in the back.
And the benches cleared rather quickly, bullpens as well. And Castellanos had some thoughts about Uceta and his pitch after the game.
Yeah, I almost I got into the box. I wasn't even swinging because I thought there was a chance that could happen, and it happened. I think that he was just pissed off that his numbers got messed up.
You don't have any beef with him, right?
No, just other than having a overwhelming sense that I was about to get drilled.
You thought it might happen just based on the way the inning went against him to that point, or?
I can't explain it, just I know that he had relatively pretty good numbers going into that, and just watching him, I could see him getting frustrated, and I was digging in. I'm like, I'm going to take this pitch right here to see if he's around the plate, and it wasn't anywhere near the plate.
So what was that like when you see your teammates put on Bryce, come right?
No doubt, because I think that we all kind of got a sense of what it was, that he was just pissed off that, he got hit around and his ERA shot through the roof.
Is it frustrating because A, was on purpose, but also B, maybe he could have gotten hurt there, I guess, in that situation?
Well, it was below. It was right at my waistline, so for that, I think I probably would have been a little bit more emotionally triggered if it was up, by my head. But I think Bryce kind of felt the same thing that I did, that wasn't even close.
There's not really a written rule about
how guys are going to react or how you react back to them in that kind of situation, right? I mean, you obviously were a little pissed off too once what you thought was going to happen did.
Yeah, I just told him I was.
That kind of sums it up.
You know, I mean, it's you're throwing a baseball over 90 miles an hour and you're frustrated and you're gonna throw at somebody. You know, that's like my 2-year-old throwing a fit because I take away his dessert before he's finished.
Really good, man. And I think, you know, he knew exactly what was coming. It was like, man, this sucks, dude. I'm about to wear 96 to the back, you know, for no reason other than this guy sucking tonight.
Usato tried to claim, it was a changeup. 96 didn't register as a changeup.
I love that. I love Castellanos.
You overthrew the changeup a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. That was great.
So the Phillies get the win, and they kind of need it. They're trying to hold off the Dodgers for I think that gives them a 1-game lead over the Dodgers in the race for the number 1 seed in the National League playoffs.
Bryce Harper has not hit a home run in a month.
He is a very streaky player.
He hit one last night, and it got called back for fan interference.
Oh, was that the double that they had? Oh, it was a different one.
So the night before, Harper hits one in the ninth that he thinks is a homer. It's a line drive, and he Cadillacs it down to first base. I was told he never does that only Manny does that. But happened to Bryce Harper. He ended up with a long, long single. Had to go apologize to Rob Thompson after the game because you could see the manager was visibly pissed off. Like, you saw him put his head down like, are you kidding me? It's the 9th inning. We need runs here, and you're pimping line drives. And went straight up to Rob Thompson. Was like, hey, bro, that's my bad. Then the next night, hits one, thinks it's gone. Kid reaches over. He's over the line, pulls it back. No home run. Fan interference. He's like, oh, my God.
All right, for Do This.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
Let's revisit Manny. We heard Jesse's call of his franchise record-setting home run, but let's give it for everyone who was listening on radio and didn't see it on television. Here's how Don Orsillo called it last night on Padres.tv.
Machado hits one to right center field. Back goes Rodriguez looking up. Manny Machado stands alone as the Padres' all-time home run leader. Man, oh, Manny, you are number 1 in Padres history. 2-run shot.
Amazing.
Question for you.
Yes.
Who will finish with more home runs as a San Diego Padre? Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis Jr.?
What's the total right now?
So Tatis is right now, let me check.
I think he's at 120, is that right?
Let's see, career stats for Fernando. I think he is at, stats, come on. He is at 121 after last night.
Oh, yeah, 121 after last night.
So he's 43 behind Manny. So one really good season.
Yeah.
Younger, obviously.
He's younger. I think Fernando.
You think Fernando will stick around long enough?
Safe bet.
Stay healthy enough?
Yeah.
Because Manny's going to keep adding to the 164 for quite some time.
Going to get between 25 and 30 every year. So,
for at least the next few years, you'd think. That requires a lot of consistency from Fernando as well.
That's true. That's been the knock against Fernando. But, I mean, all things being equal, but they're not. I mean, he's much younger. So I'd say it's pretty safe to put it on Fernando. Yeah.
Fernando's on pace. If he had played the whole season, would be right around a 30 home run season, I believe, this year as well.
How about Jackson Merrill?
Ooh.
Down the road.
Hi, this is Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill doesn't have a long-term contract the way Tatis does.
It's true.
I don't know that any of us are expecting Jackson Merrill to be leaving anytime soon.
Yeah, Nando, they said Nando, he could have done it by now had he been healthy. So, and obviously without the ringworm. So,
but that's a factor. The fact that Fernando has one essentially full season in his career in 2023. I mean, that's a lot of years that he's missed a lot of games.
Yep.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that'll continue in the future, but there are players who just don't play as many full seasons as other guys, and it impacts their career numbers.
Yeah, so I'm very happy for Manny today.
Right.
Earned it.
All right, we got Adam Jones coming up on a Big League Wednesday. Get his thoughts on his good friend Manny Machado's record. Do that coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, it's already been a pretty remarkable career for Manny Machado, the Padres' new all-time home run leader as of last night. And there was someone who got to see the very beginning of it with the Baltimore Orioles. He is standing by on a Big League Wednesday. We'll talk to Adam Jones right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by MTS, reminding you that trolleys run every 15 minutes or better. We still have double trouble out of the North County, southbound side of the 15, past Bella collision blocking the fast lane. Up ahead before Rancho Bernardo Road, crash has been cleared over to the right shoulder. Traveling on northbound 5, just before Claremont Drive. Looks like a disabled vehicle in the center divide, another car behind it trying to assist. So just watch out for a little activity there. That's northbound 5 before Claremont Drive. Don't let traffic drag your day down, whether headed to the office or game day. Go the easy way with MTS. Trolleys run every 15 minutes or better throughout the day. Learn more and plan your trolley trip at sdmts.com. That's sdmts.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3.
Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits, still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. We got Adam back on? Yes, we do. Joining us, the 5-time All-Star center fielder, Adam Jones on a Big League Wednesday. Good morning, AJ.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing? Hey, what's most important is my guy broke the record.
Sure did.
I think that's that's the topic of discussion, and that's the big news of the Padres. Obviously, getting a win is huge in Seattle, and keep doing what they're doing. But my guy Manuel has set the record, and yeah, he's got 8 more years left. So I'm pretty sure he's going to put it in some secure hands.
Did you text him last night?
I haven't. I mean, the time difference and stuff like that. I'm sure he's been reached out by 100 people. I generally don't hit people up when something happens. And because look, they're going to receive a lot of messages. I wait about a week later when they're free and they're normal and they get back to everybody.
Yeah, smart.
If you hit somebody up right away, you're not going to get responded to.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And you get special attention a week later. Like, oh, man, thank you.
That happens to me. Woods is like, hey, there's major news about this person. Text them, see if we can get them on the show tomorrow. I'm like, you realize they got 1,000 text messages right now?
Let's
get them next week.
You got to wait.
AJ, I know we've talked about it in the past, but I want to go back to the early years of Manny Machado when you saw him coming up as they brought him up really young. I mean,
he was 19 or something.
Yeah, wasn't he when he first started?
20. No, he was 20.
20 when he first started in Major League Baseball. You get a lot to learn when you're 20. What did you see though in the raw Manny Machado when he first joined the Baltimore Orioles and was coming up through the system and seeing him at spring training? What kind of player you thought he was going to be?
What he is right now. I mean, like you guys, the sky's the limit on his back. I mean, when I first seen him, obviously you're like the first rounder, like everybody else. You size up the first rounder. You know what I mean? Who is this kid? Let's see what he is. He's coming in at 6'2.5", just a monster. And we're like, yeah, okay, cool. And that's why I said certain times, certain people can speak up in certain times in meetings and stuff like that. And it's not always the superstar who gets to speak up. And sometimes it's either the veteran or it's the guy who has the knack. It's just certain things about a clubhouse. He was able to come into the room the first week. I mean, we've seen what he was able to do. His mental capacity and understanding of situation was unbelievable. I mean, there's some plays that he made that are unbelievable in the time that he was there, just awareness. And these are just baseball plays, not like, oh, tell me what to do. These are plays that he did because he understood the situation and what's going on. He's always thought ahead, and that's why he's had success. I mean, his defense is his pride, his offense is his joy. So, he's a hell of a player.
I talk to my kid, Bo, who's 6. I talk to him about baseball IQ all the time, Adam, and that's something that, I talk to my little leaguers that I coach about thinking every single minute while you're out there and knowing what do I do if it's hit to my left? What do I do if it's hit to my right? It's so rare that he makes the wrong decision. And I mean like once a year. I mean, honestly, like one time you'll be like, you probably shouldn't have barehanded that one. But literally, like one time a year I go, but that's it. I mean, the IQ is off the charts. He knows when to run, knows when to steal, knows when not to steal, knows when to take the extra bag. Is that innate in someone? Is that just something that you just have to work at and constantly think about?
No, I mean, it's when he first came up, you got to understand, he came up in a winning culture. So it's like he came up when, like in 2012, we were grinding for every W. You know, we won the wild card. The wild card, you know what that means? That means every night we needed to do something to win this game. And we did the dirty work. So when he came up, he was taught to play dirty baseball. Not dirty baseball, but get himself dirty.
Yeah.
In on the field and get the job done. No matter if it's pretty, no matter what it is. Obviously, he's a superstar, but if a man's on second base with nobody out, you got to understand what he's going to do every time is try to hit the ball to the big part of the field.
Yep.
He's still, obviously, he can pull the ball with the best of them, but he plays baseball. And the thing is, it's when you got a guy who's a superstar and plays baseball, that's the sexiest thing you can see. I mean, it's because it's like, damn, you can do everything on this field and you can slow the game down. And right now he's healthy, so you're seeing him slow the game down. I was seeing him face Webb. Webb has been one of the nastiest sinkers, if not the best sinker in the game, him and Stroman, and getting ground balls. And he staged through these balls because he's feeling good and he's hot. And he understands the situation. So his baseball IQ, again, he was taught by Bobby Dickerson, myself, Buck Showalter, J.J. Hardy, who was his comrade at shortstop, who was, you know, at the time of, you know, you got a 10-year difference of age, who, you know, giving him game on how to do it at this level. And look, we need to win tonight. So his first 5 years in Baltimore was all about winning. So when he came over to the Padres, he was the franchise guy, and he's like, hey, I want to win. That's why he's so passionate about winning. He gets frustrated when they don't, because his first taste of the big leagues was winning. My first taste to the big leagues was getting my ass handed to me. So it was okay to get my ass handed to me when I got in Baltimore. But once I started to learn how to win, it was over.
Talking to Adam Jones about Manny Machado, the Padres' new all-time home run leader with 164. But I might argue, Adam, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, that Manny Machado isn't really a home run hitter. He hits a lot of home runs. But he's a line drive hitter, and he just hits them so hard. Even the one yesterday, just hits them so hard they go over the fence occasionally. But he doesn't have a home run swing, really. I mean, people say that right-handed swing one of the best in balance.
It's beautiful, man.
No, he reminds me of a right-handed Manny Ramirez. With Manny was not a home run hitter. He hit line drive. Look at Manny's swing. He hits down through, not up and out. He hits down and through the ball. So he hits basically 2 irons all the time. His home runs, I mean, they don't like. He doesn't hit those balls that hook, I should say. He hits balls that like keep going. Like, you know, the golf ball you wish you could have?
Yes.
He hits those when he hits these bombs. And he doesn't hook. I mean, he's one of the guys who stays inside the ball. He's on top of the ball. He's not underneath or doing all this crazy old stuff. He's old school. Work on top of the ball. Hit line drives, because line drives turn into home runs. Fly balls and BP turn into outs in the game when you add true velocity. That's simple physics, baby.
I want to talk about another hitter on the San Diego Padres. Talking to Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods this morning, and Luis Ariz, who has been such a delight to watch. And you know, the advanced metrics don't like him. They don't like him. He's been on 3 teams in 3 years. I look at him, Adam, and I say, how does he do what he does against the most elite pitching on the planet? And I kind of boil it down. Yep. No, he's not a good defender. He's not a fast runner. He doesn't hit doubles and home runs. So it makes him less, quote unquote, valuable in today's game. But when you're getting 3 knocks a night, it's kind of hard to argue with those results, man.
I mean, the name of the game is to get on base and to get hits. That's the name of the game. I mean, Tony Gwynn had 3,200 of them. Carew in that category. I don't care what you say. I'm waiting. I'm still waiting for a computer to hit a baseball. I know they got that robot thing that can hit a golf ball. I know they have that.
That thing's
the golf
nasty.
ball sitting there. It's money. It's great. Yeah, but I'm still waiting for a computer to hit a damn baseball. It won't happen. Okay, I get it. You want the 3 outcomes. You want the home run, the extra base hit, strikeout, or walk. You want those. I'm sorry, Ariz struck out 3 times in the last month and a half or something like that.
No, longer than that.
That means he's giving it. That means he gives you a chance every single at bat. I know a lot of guys that don't. You know, one thing that frustrates me is when somebody's hitting 195 and they hit a home run, they act like they're hitting 295. Bro, hey, run around the bases like Adam Rosales.
Fast.
That's what you need to do. You're hitting 195, run around the bases like Adam Rosales. Okay, put your head down and go. Stop pimping the ball. Because, this is the first good ball you hit in the last 2 months. You're hitting 205. let's stop pimping the ball as Major League Baseball. Let's stop pimping the ball when you're hitting 205. That's not sexy to me.
I saw a post yesterday that since the All-Star break, there have been 472 Major League Baseball players who have had a 2-strikeout game. That's essentially almost every position player in baseball.
Yeah.
Have had at least one game in which they've struck out twice. And Arise has struck out twice total since the All-Star break. Twice.
Bananas, man. Bananas.
Yep. There you go.
Unbelievable.
It's the three major outcomes. No one cares about, if you strike out 150 times in 350 at-bats, no one cares. I told Ellie De La Cruz at the All-Star break, I said, bro, you lead Major League Baseball right now in strikeouts. You're an aggressive hitter, I get all that. But if you just cut down your strikeouts like 25, 30%, that means you're on base. If
Fast
you get
as
on
hell.
base, you already got 55 at the damn break. You know what I mean? It's like the little things when you strip your ego from whatever these numbers and all this stuff, and these behind the scenes numbers, when you strip your ego and just play the game to win, it opens up the door for everything else. I get it. Yeah, everybody. The objective is to get paid, and I know now with the analytics, agents are telling players these are certain ways you should play because the analytics say do this, move this and do this because look, man, at the end of the day, they're gonna remember your ass for winning. They're not gonna remember you because you shaded over 3 steps and you had a good you had a good BABIP. No one's gonna remember that. They're gonna remember you as a winner. They're gonna remember you because you did the dirty work. They don't care about all those little intricacies. Now in the off season, it's time to get paid, yes. But between the lines, when it's time to play, man, throw that jet out the window, man, and like I said, like with Arise, who do you want in the Padres lineup besides Manny in the bottom of the ninth?
I want to rise.
hit?
Yeah, I want to rise.
Exactly, because he's going to make contact.
Yep.
He's going to put you in a situation to probably get a hit. So,
every time.
I mean, but again, the analytics will say, put this guy in here because, he might hit a home run. Well, Mike ain't going to help me right now. I need a contact guy.
Yeah, man, I want to ask you about another player, and I know, honestly, you were a player. You're going to be pro player all the time. Anthony Rendon yesterday went on the IL again.
Yeah.
He's played barely at all and got this massive contract. There are, and again, I don't know Anthony at all. Are there guys? Manny was ripped a little bit by fans early in the season for playing through injury, and then you have the other extreme in Anthony Rendon, who doesn't seem to play ever. I mean, what's your where does that fall? I mean, if you're a teammate of a guy like that, it just is never on the field. How tough is that?
Yeah. I mean, one thing you can never, I never question a man's heart, and like you said, if he can't play, he can't play. I'm never going to be like, hey, push through it. That's not my decision. That's never been my decision. My decision is if I can play, I'm going to give myself the best opportunity to play. If he can't play, then I guess you do yourself he can't play. Obviously, as a baseball fan, I'm speaking as a baseball fan first, it's frustrating because, again, you're talking about one of the top 10 baseball players over a 4 or 5 year stretch.
Yeah, he was really good.
And you know what I mean? Like, you talking about unbelievable. Like, Rendon's, unbelievable. And I got to see him the Battle of the Beltway, so I got to see a lot of his career because we were so close to each other. So it's just he was spectacular. The last few years, obviously, in some comments he's made have not been as kosher, I should say. I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not mad at what I say, shit. But I'm just saying, sorry.
You're good.
It's frustrating. I just say
it's frustrating.
It's frustrating as a fan, as a teammate. I'm sure for the Angels, I'm sure you can't trade them. The only thing you can do is, within their power is to release them, which obviously you're not going to release somebody making that much money. I just hope that again he either figures it out with his body physically and gives it all he has, or, sometimes, like Chris Davis had to do. Sometimes the physical toll takes its toll. He's made enough money.
He's made enough.
Sometimes, it's like a Strasburg situation. Sometimes the injuries just mess with you too much to where, you know what, he might not want to work his tail off to get back. You know what I mean? This game is mental, man. It beats you up. It looks great on TV, but behind the scenes, man, this game beats you up, especially now. Everything you say is decoded and encrypted with social media.
I believe
it's funny out here where it's raining where I'm at, and you know what I mean? So it's a lot of it takes its toll on guys. And, like with some guys, you're not surprised when they're like, you know what, hey, I've had enough of it. I got money on the table, but hey, I've made enough. And you ain't gonna see me no more. And he might be one of those guys.
He could be.
I'm not saying he is, but he has the personality to just disappear and
never be heard from
never see him
again.
again.
Never again. Yeah.
AJ, we're out of
Right.
time. Great stuff today, especially on Manny.
Why don't
Always
you ask
appreciate
him-
your perspective.
We got a minute to ask him another question.
We don't have a minute. We
Get him
have
in.
like 37 seconds left.
I thought you liked to live dangerously.
Adam, have a great week.
See you, buddy.
You guys too.
Thanks, man.
Good stuff. Balsamic Vinny in the chat says Rendon should be serving chicken at medieval times due to Jester.
He's the one guy that makes me root for an owner. I swear to God. I see it. I'm like,
But
I'm
at
on your
the same
side.
time, and he said some things that are questionable, obviously. But some guys' bodies break down, and they can't do anything about it. And he's like a broken down shell of himself. We'll continue this conversation. Come back second half of Bennett Woods next here on 97.3 The Fan.
Oh, the vibes are very good this morning. Halfway home on a Wednesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you making us a part of your morning. I am Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl, the executive producer. And to my left, the friendly neighborhood sports anchor for 20 years. Celebrated 20 years today, actually. 20 years on the air at Channel 10. Congratulations to Ben Higgins.
Thank you. Technically, I think I completed my 20 years yesterday.
Yesterday, okay.
And start my next 20 years.
Your next 20.
Today.
And you are heading out for the next couple days on a golf excursion.
Yes.
To Los Angeles.
Conejo Valley, like Thousand Oaks.
Okay, Thousand Oaks. Is that
probably
north of L.A.?
Kind of, yeah. It's beyond L.A. Technically, it's west of L.A. as you go along the 101.
Malibu.
Past the valley.
Area.
Yeah, it's a little north of Malibu and west of the San Fernando Valley.
They make a lot of adult films in the San
They
Fernando
do.
Valley.
They're
Did you know
known for that.
Yeah.
Actually, when we were driving through a few months ago with my kids, I said, "You know what industry this region is famous for?" And they did not.
They did not know.
They did not. Well, my kids are adults, so they're allowed to know things like that.
True.
Wood shouldn't have that conversation with his kids.
Well, we were watching Boogie Nights with the kids last night, and I was telling them about the San Fernando Valley. He didn't hear one word I said.
You were watching, and you told your kids about the San Fernando
Watching
Valley. Caddyshack.
Why don't you go ahead and go now?
I'm not. What did you say?
Boogie Nights!
Boogie Nights.
Just go.
Caddyshack.
Just go ahead and go. Right now.
A golf movie.
I'm watching him. His eyes are glazed over like donuts. All right, how much golf are you playing?
Let's see. Probably about 5 or 6 rounds worth, I think.
In how many days? 3 days? 4 days? Oh, 4 days. You're going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
5 or 6 rounds. Like 2 a day?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Is this a tournament or something? Or just a golf orgy?
Yeah, exactly.
And where are you staying? You're staying at a hotel?
Staying in a hotel, Westlake Village.
The course there?
There's no course at the hotel. It's kind of the central base around the different courses that we're playing. The closest area where we could reach the majority of the courses.
Some good tracks?
Yeah, the one that I'm really looking forward to that I played once before, but I wanted to play again is called Rustic Canyon. Very golfy name, but it's kind of one of those old school linksy type courses. Really, really fun track to play.
And you guys you're not sharing a room?
No.
Okay.
Get our own room.
Gonna go out, have dinner and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Just a guy's
Sushi.
golf trip?
Yeah.
Good.
Guys
Dudes
golf
being
trip.
bros.
Just dudes being bros.
Not that bro-y, but yeah.
A little bit bro-y.
Dudes playing golf.
Golf trip.
And eating. For the most
And
part.
gambling.
I don't think there's any gambling on this one.
You guys won't gamble each other?
Oh, with each other,
Yeah, that's
yes.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any casino trips in the area.
Well,
It's not that I know of.
We had an example yesterday of a dude being a bro.
Oh.
I will say this. I opened my Instagram and I was shocked. I was fully taken aback. Because I follow on Instagram one David R. Grohl.
I do too. He posts like once a year,
Right.
I think.
At Dave's True Stories. And I'd forgotten that was his handle. So I read that. I go, well, who the hell is Dave's True Stories?
Not active on social media.
And I read it and I went, oh, man, that's a tough post. And then I clicked on it and I went, that's Dave Grohl. That is David Grohl, drummer for Nirvana, drummer for Queens of the Stone Age, and of course, frontman, leader of Foo Fighters. And I opened my Instagram and I read this. I've recently become a father of a new baby daughter, born outside my marriage. I plan to be a loving and supportive parent to her. I love my wife and children. I'm doing everything I can to regain their trust and earn their forgiveness. We're grateful for your consideration toward all the children involved as we move forward together, Dave. And I was shocked. I sent it to Paulie. Paulie wrote back, WTF. And some of the comments, everyone made the joke. He should have started it with, I've got another confession to make. I saw that joke 7,000 times. I saw that one. And then somebody said, Dave Grohl's having a child out of wedlock, announced it like a football team is firing its head coach. That's exactly what he did. Also, there were some pandemic vibes in there as we all move forward together.
Watch him as he hoes.
Watch him as he hoes. I saw that as well. But listen, I saw it and I just went, oh man, that's
So he is married.
Yeah, married with kids.
Okay. For how long?
A long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the bummer was the thing that really broke my heart is his daughters. He's had all daughters, and all his daughters went and had to delete their social media. And it's like, man, dude, you let your storm get your kids wet. You know what I mean? Like that's
Ooh, I've never heard that expression.
It's one of my favorites.
That's a good one.
I think I keep that in my mind as I let my storm get my kids wet plenty, and I try not to. It's one of the things that I'm working probably the hardest in my life is don't let my storm get my kids wet. It's not their fault. They didn't ask for this.
I just try to stay inside when it's raining.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, for sure. And I just, it's such a good phrase. And if you can kind of remember that, it does help me. It does help me a lot. Not as much as it should, I mean, he's obviously not it's hard to believe that he's just a normal.
Katie says he could have not
guy.
posted about it.
So here's the thing, Katie. My gut tells me. My gut immediately told me he was getting ahead of it.
Getting ahead of something.
100%.
It was going to come out anyway.
The
Yeah.
way it came out, the way it was phrased, it was very odd. And again, the fact that he never posts anything on social media. So that told me immediately. I wrote right back when you sent that over, Woods. I just said, yeah, sounds like he got wind that news might be coming out, and I guess all you can do is get in front of it or try to get in front of it at that point.
I think so. I think that's probably was the case, and
it sucks. It's not a cool thing to do.
Right.
I also think it's important, and I'm a huge fan of the band, and I've always liked Dave Grohl. He's been he's had the good guy persona.
Yeah. And
that took a hit yesterday, but I think it's also important to note, he's not a criminal. He didn't do anything illegal.
No, it sucks.
But it sucks.
It sucks.
It's not a good thing.
No, not a good thing. Not a good thing for his kids and obviously his wife. And you hope they make their way through it. Certainly not the first rock star or
breaking news rock star.
Well, I mean, it happens to plumbers. It happens to everybody. It happens. So it was a punch in the jaw though when I saw it yesterday. And I listen, whoever your hero is in your life, whoever it is, they're going to let you down at some point. The quicker you realize, man, I can appreciate the art, I can appreciate the whatever, but they're human beings, just like you are, just like I am, just like all of us are. So I for me, it's the kids. I'm sorry to any plumbers out there. Balsamic Vinny, I didn't mean for plumbers to catch strays, but I just think and I don't, the funny thing is, Paulie, is I don't think his good guy act is an act. I think that's who he is. And I think he's just a guy that's a human being. I don't think that's an act. I don't think behind the scenes, I've never heard anything other than him being massively congenial. You don't know what's going on in his whole scene. So I saw it. I think it does take a hit, certainly, but as long as he and his family can come to terms with it and get through it.
If he works that out, I mean, what he said, the post said, I look forward to working this out with my family. And being a loving and supporting father to the new daughter.
I thought that was
I'm like, is it possible that that can all be true, right?
Sure.
You can still be a loving father
100%.
who made a mistake, but you learn from it, you grow from it, and you're not just somebody's like, oh, he's an effing dirtbag in the chat. Is he going to be labeled a dirtbag forever now because of that?
Probably.
I don't know.
But I mean, as long as his kids forgive him, and that's really all that matters. I don't think what somebody in our YouTube Ben and Woods chat is going to affect him very much. I don't know that he cares about it affecting record sales or anything like that. I don't. Again, it's not a. I mean, there's a lot of artists that have done some really, really horrific things, and they're still working. They're still touring. They are still selling records at an incredible rate. I mean, there's hundreds of them that move through it, move forward. So it wasn't.
Luckily, we
weird.
covered baseball, and baseball players are famous for their fidelity.
Yes,
and dedication to
most
to always
professional athletes. Actually,
yeah, really,
it's just those rock stars.
It's one of those things.
Lousy rock stars.
Bro, I'll never forget. I mean, who's your hero that maybe let you down the most that you can remember? If you have one off the top of your head, I know I'm kind of springing it.
I mean, my favorite baseball player of all time is Ken Griffey Jr. I never got to meet him as a kid in Seattle, but it was lore up there. He was the biggest jerk. Would not sign even for kids. very standoffish with people and with the media. I grew up and I kind of realized, like, I mean, when you're that famous, I kind of get it. But I was just honestly like a little happy I never met him because, like, what if?
What if he's
a total jerk to me, like 10-year-old Paul?
Little Paul Reindl's up there. Can I get your autograph? He's like, beat it.
It would have been devastating.
You're devastated.
I try never to be devastated. I was certainly shocked and disappointed in the Tiger Woods revelations when they came out. You know, felt like he was not that person, but obviously he very much is that person. And didn't make me appreciate his golf any less, but definitely changed my impression of who he is.
Well, but look at the strides that he's made with his family since. You know, him and Charlie and him and his daughter, super tight. It just doesn't always work out. You know, and I'm bummed for his daughters. I really am. Having to go delete your social media is just like, oh, dude, you got your storm got your kids wet, man, and that's the worst part. I think for me, I didn't know this. There was a time in my life I felt deeply, deeply obsessed with and in love with John Lennon, and then I started doing some research on John Lennon and was like, like, not great, man, not great at all. Like the word, like when. His lyrics and his music spoke to me so much, and then I started, like, you know, doing what I do, going down the rabbit hole of John Lennon, and I'm like, what? No, he didn't. There was like domestic stuff, there was, you know, obviously extramarital thing, like, whatever. But I was just like, oh man. And so listen, you just careful who your heroes are. Appreciate the art. That's what we always say. Separate the art from the artist.
It's tough.
It is tough. Yeah, John Lennon was a bad dude, Benny says. I know, it sucks. He was also a great dude at times and with certain things. And, you know, walk the walk a lot. But yeah, man, everybody's got a past. Nobody's perfect. So
that is the one reality, is that everybody has good and bad sides.
Yeah.
You know, good
I've
days
never really
and bad
seen
days.
your bad side. I want to see
Still
it.
waiting. Someday.
Sometimes I don't totally pay attention to you all the time.
What movie did I say, Ben? Caddyshack.
Boogie Nights, of course. Boogie Nights
show.
Caddyshack.
Hey, I had a one in
Happy Gilmore, Tin Cup.
7 million chance.
That was the whole joke.
Getting it right.
The whole joke was me watching Boogie Nights with my kids.
I should have gone with a movie about adult films. That really would have been a better guess.
It was on about a month ago, and I flipped through it, and Bo was next to me. And I was like, oh, this is the greatest movie of all time. He's like, what is it? I'm like, Boogie Nights. He's like, and he starts watching, hey, we can't watch this. I had to, like, turn it. But I was like, someday, son, when you're, I don't know, 30, we'll sit down and watch this movie together. So sorry about that, Dave Grohl. And if you're a big Dave Grohl fan, yeah, it's going to take some getting used to.
We got Bret Boone coming up as Big League Wednesday continues at the bottom of the hour. And I got two new pieces that dropped this morning involving your San Diego Padres. A little more optimism out there about their chances in the postseason. We can talk about that and more. Oh, and the Incorporator. If you missed it earlier, Jesse, again, nailing it last night in the Padres-Mariners game. Get to all of that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Do you trust yourself as a Padres fan to have a honest, fair opinion of the team? I don't know that I do. I think it's very easy to either get too high or too low when you're a fan of a team. Like when things are going well, we're going all the way. This is a team that could win the World Series.
Ask me the question again. All right, ask me again.
Do you trust your own honest opinion of the San Diego Padres?
I will say.
Or do you get too emotional about it?
I will say this year, I have been the best version of Padre fan I've ever been.
Good.
I really believe it.
Last year was a lesson.
And the year before was a lesson. And I wonder, I think about this a lot because, I'm always overthinking things. I'm like, do people need me to be more excitable right now? I'm so excited. And yeah, man, at home, if there was a camera trained on me, I still get pretty fired up during the games. Not like last year and not like the year before. And I had to do it, honestly, Benny, for my health. It was like my actual health, my mental health, my physical well-being. Last year, I will say, and we've talked about this before with our audience, I dreaded coming in here. And I never want to feel that way. I dreaded coming in. Even when they won, I was like, I just felt like it ain't going to last. You know what I mean? They just didn't have the thing. The year before, I actually said early in the season, I believe in this team, and I rode with that. This season, I've been fairly calm. For me, because I had to. Ben. My blood pressure was going to go through the roof, dude.
But you still, and I do too, still get caught up in the moment as a fan. Yet, I also believe, and I've said this before, you're always going to get better local coverage of your team. The insights you get from us, Tony Gwynn Jr.,
we watch
Annie
every
and
pitch.
Elston, even the UT, wherever, Dennis Lynn.
Yeah.
It's always going to be more insightful than anything you're going to get from ESPN national outlets.
Well, and also, when I'm a fan of a team, I want to hear other fans. That's why I've always loved Padres podcasts, right? All the people that do podcasts.
Right.
I want to hear.
Even that's probably going to be insightful.
Right.
Yet I still seek out the national opinion and temperature of the Padres to basically check myself. Am I too excited or not excited enough? What are people who have no emotional interest in the Padres saying about the team?
But by that logic, why is it more insightful when a national person writes it? Because they're not on the front line, so to speak.
It's not, but I do trust them to take their bias. There's no emotional baggage that comes along with being a Padres fan for them. And our friend Jesse Rogers, who's absolutely one of my favorite national guys, but he's Chicago-based, so, but this was something that came out this morning. He had a panel of about a dozen or more executives and scouts and players, and he asked them a couple of simple questions. First one was this: which of the clubs with the two best records in baseball is the team to beat in October? And those are the Phillies and the Dodgers have the two best records. And his panel went fairly overwhelmingly, 9-4 in favor of the Phillies. They said, it just feels like, baseball people say, feels more like the Phillies year. Dodgers are good, but they've got a bunch of injuries in their pitching staff, and it may hold them back. Phillies look like the stronger team. So they go through that. And then the second question of the panel was, who is the biggest threat to the Phillies and the Dodgers? And that's everyone else that was listed. Astros got 1 vote. Guardians got 3 votes. Yankees got 3 votes. Orioles got 5 votes. Brewers got 5 votes. And your leader, the team that they thought was the biggest playoff threat, the San Diego Padres, with 8 votes. That's independent, rose-colored glasses, non-doomers that just look at the Padres and go, that looks like a roster to me that can do a lot of damage and you wouldn't want to face in the postseason.
Which you always love to see that.
Yeah.
And we believe that to be true. That said, these are all the same pundits and executives and whatever. And I promise you, man, gun to their head, not one of them thought in mid-September last year that the Texas Rangers were going to make the most noise and that the Arizona Diamondbacks were going to make the second most noise. I mean, nobody thought they would roll through the Dodgers. Nobody, and for good reason. They had no business rolling through the Dodgers. They just did it. So I'm with you. I like reading about the Padres. I like think pieces about the Padres, but I'll take letters to AJ's blog. I'll take Intelligence. I'll take all these over those guys any day of the week because they're there watching every night like we are.
Got 2 quotes for you. First one's from Pittsburgh Pirates manager Derek Shelton. Says, "We saw the Padres after the trade deadline, after they acquired Adam and Tanner Scott, and they can make it a 5-inning game really, really fast. That bullpen is elite. They're really explosive offensively, and you talk about trade acquisitions. They just got back one of the best players in the game in Tatis. That changes the dynamic of their lineup." And then the other quote was just an anonymous NL executive who said, "I do think the Dodgers are pretty darn good, but I don't know that I'd like to play the Padres in a postseason series, particularly if Tatis is fully healthy by then. That's a dangerous team that can score runs and has a solid rotation, but more importantly, can shorten games and get a bunch of strikeouts in late innings, which is huge come postseason."
Yeah, which again, all sounds great on paper. It really does. But when you watch, when you look at the Dodgers lineup, I mean, you're not expecting Mookie and Freddie to do what they did in the postseason last year, which was literally nothing. Like, the three of us had a better chance of getting a knock than those guys in that series last year. They were so bad. That's not going to continue. And then you add a Shohei Ohtani in the mix. Okay, Will Smith, postseason success. Max Muncy, postseason success. Chris Taylor, who's hit a $180, is good for about a 400 average in the postseason. So, yeah, man, I wouldn't sleep on that team. I wouldn't sleep on the Phillies. I wouldn't sleep on anybody. Do I think we can make noise? Yeah, I think we can hang and bang with any team in baseball because I don't think anybody does it like the Padres do it. They do it differently. And we were talking, who did we interview yesterday? I forgot.
Jesse Agler.
Jesse Agler said, listen, they're doing it a different way right now, and that's pretty sweet. But I think we can hang with anyone, but in the playoffs, I think that's why. Now, you want to see me at my worst? Wait till that first playoff game. I'm not going to be calm and, we're down 3-0. I'm going to freak out. I've been saving all my blood pressure for the playoffs because this is a playoff team. You're going to see the worst of me at that point. Old me is going to rear his ugly head.
You expect when you have someone like Shohei Ohtani and you're playing a series that he's going to get you once or twice.
Oh, yeah.
And that may be the difference in the game. But I was just looking back at his game logs. I mean, he has a 9-game stretch this year where he didn't hit a home run. Yeah. He has several 3-game stretches. You can be out in 3 games. That's the reality of the playoffs. You could be in the middle of a torrid stretch of, hey, if I play 2 weeks, I might hit 7 home runs. But if you don't hit them in those 3 games and you end up losing those 3 games, your season can be over so fast.
Yep.
In the playoffs.
As they saw. I mean, their top 2 guys get 1 hit. They're done. You're absolutely done for, and the pressure's on. The pressure's on those teams. The San Diego Padres have just won with last night's win, 1 more win than all of us thought that they would get. Us, Craig, everybody. Most people on this station had them as about a 500 team, maybe a little bit better. And we also thought, hey, you never know. Maybe you get in that way. But they've just exceeded our expectations with last night's victory. So I think they're dangerous. I think they're nasty. I think they play hard, which is all I can ask for in the postseason. I think they have the weapons to do it. If they can stay healthy the next couple weeks, Benny, I take our chances against any of those teams, any of them.
Bret Boone has lived both sides of the Padres-Mariners natural rivalry. We will continue our Big League Wednesday when Booney joins us coming up next here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Can have Bret Boone joining us in just a minute. I'm curious because Booney was around when they first started interleague play.
Yeah.
It's kind of I know we've kind of come to accept it and we've gotten used to interleague play.
It
but
is what it is.
Woods, you and I certainly remember when it was a very novel new concept and when they were first assigning your natural rivals and the shock when they made the announcements. Oh, yeah, Dodgers and Angels, natural rivals. Mets and Yankees, natural rivals.
Made too
Cubs
much
and
sense.
White Sox.
Yeah.
I mean, even, there were definitely Royals and Cardinals, natural rivals. Okay, geographic makes a lot of sense. And all of a sudden they say, and not every team had a natural rival. But they announce, and the Padres and the Mariners are natural rivals.
What?
It's like, what?
Sounds good.
You know how far apart Seattle and San Diego are? I mean, Jesse was talking yesterday about
I've
on the
done
East
the
Coast.
drive many times. It's 1,250 miles.
On the East Coast, like the Yankees have 15 teams that are closer to them than the Padres and the Mariners.
40-minute flights to pretty much everybody on the East Coast.
And yet, for this entire time, they've never changed it. It's always been the natural rivals, the Padres and the Mariners, hence the Vetter Cup. Now, they did share a spring training facility.
There's nothing natural about it.
That was the only real connection that I could see, is that they shared a spring training facility.
And Eddie Vedder, who doesn't even really claim San
No, he's a
Diego,
Cubs fan.
So, yeah.
He's a Cubs fan. So I'm curious about his thoughts, since he's been on both sides of the Vetter Cup rivalry, about his thoughts on that. He's standing by. We'll get to him right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, South 15 is at it again in the North County. This time it's a crash just past Auto Park Way. A couple vehicles involved. They're over to the right shoulder. Further south on the 15, right before El Cajon Boulevard, got a hit-and-run accident. That's over to the right shoulder. On the coastline, southbound 5, right before Leucadia, collision involving a couple vehicles. They're over to the right shoulder. And westbound side of the 8th, been hit with an accident just before the 805. That's over to the left shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
That news means we are being joined by Odyssey MLB insider Bret Boone. Insider calls are presented by Grainger, with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Bret, the host of the Bret Boone podcast, featuring the most notable names in MLB and around sports every week. And joining us right now, the linchpin of the Vetter Cup rivalry, the man who has been on both sides of it, Bret Boone. Booney, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
God,
boys.
we're great, man. I mean, those Padres Mariners battles are just. I mean, it's.
It reminds you of the late '90s, early 2000s Red Sox Yankees, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, all the brawls and the S talking back and forth. They were talking about it on the broadcast last night. Funnily enough, that Don was like, how about we just. Why don't we just do the Mariners in the NL West and just put the Rockies somewhere else? I said, man, I couldn't agree more. If I never see the Rockies again, it'll be too soon, Bret.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. When interleague play jumped up and you were playing, what were your thoughts as a player? Were you like, I don't care, it's whatever?
Man, it was different. No, you really don't care. You really don't. I mean, it's. Oh, okay. And back in the day, it was a big deal. Hey, we got interleague play this week. But no, it didn't really matter. It's just another game, just business as usual. So it's more from a fan's perspective. But I think it was the right thing to do at the time, and now we've kind of intertwined it where it's a balanced schedule and everybody gets to play everybody. So that American League, National League back years and years ago, that was cool because. You saw him twice a year. If you were good enough to get to the postseason, you got to see him in the World Series, the other league, and then obviously in the All-Star game. And that's back when the All-Star game, that was a big deal back then. Yeah. Now it's don't get hurt, don't embarrass yourself. Hopefully you win the game, but it's not a big deal if you lose. Back then it was, no, we're out to prove that we're a better league. So the rivalry was kind of, it was real back then.
I'll say one thing that I think actually has improved, and Woods convinced me of this. He was right and I was wrong. But when they were debating whether or not to add the designated hitter to the National League, and I was more of the traditionalist, in the old school interleague play, you'd have the weird situation where American League pitchers would have to hit when they come over to the National League, or the NL would have to figure out a DH. And then you get to the World Series, and all of a sudden, half the games are played by one set of rules, and the other half are by another set of rules. And I've kind of come to understand, Brett, that I think baseball is better with one set of rules and with a DH instead of pitchers hitting. And that's just me. What about you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a traditionalist. I love the old ways. I love the differences in the National League and the American League. I mean, you go back, it was the difference between the American League guys had the chest protectors as umpires and had the higher zone. So it was two different entities. But with today's game, and everybody is, the league is the league. Big leagues is the big leagues, not the American, it's not the National. Yeah, you got the World Series, which differentiates. But I agree. The designated hitter was a must because you gave the American League an unfair advantage in the postseason. And yeah, you can both have designated hitters. That's equal. But the American League built their team around that designated hitter. So they put a lot of finances into the designated hitter, where you get to the World Series and the National League would just throw a guy that's normally on the bench. All right, now you're the DH. He wasn't one of your prominent guys in the middle of that lineup. So I think you even the playing field by having designated hitter or both. Now teams can build their team around, okay, we got to go get a designated hitter. We might have to pay him $10 million because he's a real offensive force. And I think it's good. I think it's, from a player's perspective and the union's perspective, they love it because that created another position. And I think with recently how the designated hitters become a big deal, the David Ortiz and Edgar Martinez,
Shohei Ohtani.
By adding this, you're not going to miss any of those guys, because people came out to the field to watch David Ortiz hit. And if you eliminated the DH and put less positions for you might miss one of those great offensive players as we go through this game.
Can you imagine Shohei Ohtani is just out this year? He's signed with the Dodgers, but because he can't play the field,
he's out.
He's just out this entire year instead of a 50-50 season. Yeah, it would be wonderful. Wonderful.
Should bring back pitchers hitting, to be honest. No, I watched a couple of Chris Paddock at bats, and it's really what sent me over the edge to get the DH instituted in the NL. And yeah, I mean, it was ugly. It was ugly. And I know a lot of those guys took, some of them were, it was fun. You see a pitcher run into one, Mad Bum, and some of those guys that could actually hit pretty well.
Rare, though.
But it was so rare. It was just like, forget it.
I was told my friends were Giants fans. Well, if he's that good, then just make him the DH.
Yeah, put him in, make him the DH. Exactly. Let him swing it a little bit, Brett. But I mean, listen, I know how you feel about pitchers, and then I know how you feel about pitchers when they would try to go hit, and it was not a pretty sight.
Well, it's funny though. The pitchers that thought they could really hit, I mean, they didn't just, hey, I want to hit, smile at you, wink, wink. I know I'm not really a good hitter, but I'm one of the better pitcher hitters. No, these pitchers that think they can hit, they really think they can hit. John Smoltz still thinks he can hit.
My God.
He still thinks you could put him in the 5 or the 6 hole and he'd be productive.
The 5 hole. The 5 hole.
And that's funny to me, because he truly believes it. Now, this is one of the most confident players, pitcher hitters I've ever been around. He told me one time, he said, Boone, he said, if my elbow felt good consistently, like I'm talking about 100%, I'd win 30 games minimum. And I looked at him with a straight, and he was dead serious. I ran into him a couple of weeks ago. I did that Atlanta alumni weekend, and I told him that story, and he looked at me and said, yeah, what about it? 30 minimum, he said. He said minimum.
30 wins, minimum.
Doyle Alexander, yeah.
I've been on the other side of Smoltzy a few times. I'm kind of in his camp.
You believe it. You believe it. Well, it's funny, man. I talking to Bret Boone here on Ben and Woods this morning. I finally went back and I had recorded the Greg Maddux, the professor thing, and watched it over last weekend. It's stunning, spectacular. I mean, holy cow! Do you remember facing Maddux? What was it like? Just what a student of the game, what a student of baseball. Read everything, knew everything. I mean, just a brilliant documentary on him.
I called him midway through. I was watching, and I called him, and he answered. He goes, "Boone, what do you got?" And I said, "I'm watching your
oh, that's right,
your show." And he goes, "Well, what do you think?" I said, Doggy, I think you're just tremendous. And he just laughed. And then we talked about golf for a half hour. But
those guys were great golfers too.
Oh,
yeah. Here, Maddox he's different. You know, I always talk, and you hear me talk about Bonds being the greatest of all time, greatest that I've seen by far. There were so many great pitchers in my generation. And you can talk about the Smoltz and the Glavins. They were great. Pedro for about 3 or 4 years was about as elite as it gets. The Roger Clemens, the Schillings in the postseason, Randy Johnson. They were great pitchers everywhere. But when push comes to shove, body of work, consistency, I've never faced anyone like Greg Maddux. And the knock on him is, he didn't throw that hard. You have no idea. Get in the box. And that 94, with the movement he had on that sinker, was such as everybody. A lot of people have a sinker, and we talk about it as hitters. Some guys have they throw a light ball, which it sinks a lot, but when it hits your bat, it jumps off of it. And there's some guys that throw a heavy ball. Maddux threw the heaviest 94-mile-an-hour fastball I've ever been around, to the point where, as a player, even in my later years, when I was kind of an astute hitter, I really gave in and said, I'm not even going to get an extra base hit off him because it's so heavy coming off the bat. I got to take my base hit and just move on to fight another day. It was almost like a Mariano Rivera cutter. The cutter that Mariano threw was just different. The weight of the ball off your bat. I don't know what they do. I don't know how they grip it, how they throw it, whether it's an anatomy thing. Maddux has these weird little hands that he used to shake after the game. And that's why you throw a weird sinker. But it was so heavy. The difference between Maddux and everybody else is when he had a bad day in his heyday, when he was making that run, he was missing by inches. And a bad game for him was he went 7 and he gave up 2.
Yeah.
That's really what differentiated him between everybody else. So I think for my 2 cents, he's the greatest to ever do it. Body of work across the board, maybe not the nastiest of all time, but
Sure.
I'll tell you, the consistency, it was unbelievable.
I'm going to try to elicit a Bret Boone story because we last few minutes here. And this is random because I just pulled up your Wikipedia page. And the picture of you is as a 19-year-old playing for the Alaska Gold Panners.
Yes, I remember that.
Is that like a wood bat league? You played in Alaska? Is that like I assume
aluminum
bat league in the summer? So why did you go to Alaska? What were you doing up there, and what was it like?
Back in the day, as a college player, you had 2 choices. It was either you go to Cape Cod, which is still going and still the most prolific college league, or you go to the Alaska League. Back then, Alaska League was prominent. It had a history. My dad played in the Alaska League. Dave Winfield played in the Alaska League. Tom Seaver, I think, was a gold panner. So there were 2 basic places you had, and if you weren't an elite college player, you had no options in the offseason. Nowadays, you've got 10 or 15 leagues around, so everybody can play no matter what level. But back then, it was 2 leagues. It was Alaska, and it was Cape Cod. And I got the call from the Gold Panners, and they said, we'd love to have you here. You know, your dad played here and this and that. I just thought, what the heck? You know, I knew it was one of the best leagues, so I went there for a summer. It was a rude awakening. It was different. I'm glad I did it. The sun never went down. You had aluminum foil on your windows. We'd come out of the bar at 3 in the morning and we'd go to the beach. It was one of those things. It was just a weird experience, but a cool experience. And the midnight sun game, started the game at 12 midnight with no lights. And it was great. Did my job every day. Had to sweep the AstroTurf infield for $20 an hour. I got about 15 minutes in and then sat there for 5 hours and collected my check. So it was really good.
The glamorous life.
And you were very happy to get back to USC probably at the end of the summer.
We finished up the summer. We went to that Alaska League. We went to Hawaii for the finale. And about 4 of us went on the beach. I mean, you're in Alaska all winter, and you just, you're Hawaii. You know, you're 18, 19. You want to go out to the clubs and girls. And we went on the beach without any sunblock, and about 4 of us got so sunburned we couldn't even play. And I remember that being a big scandal. Like, this is the finals. You guys aren't taking it serious. We were just kids. You know, we were staying at the dorm at the University of Hawaii. And we were interested in the nightlife in Hawaii, and we kind of put baseball on the back burner. So our coaches weren't too excited about it. But that was kind of our treat after spending the entire summer in Alaska. You got to go to Hawaii at the end. So, yeah,
Yeah,
great experience.
Go to Hawaii
Great.
and not play.
The 49th and the 50th states.
Not play, right. Just sit there with aloe vera in the dorm room bed. Can't move like you're a burn pit.
Booty, I would have killed my kid if he did that. I would have killed my kid if he did that.
Yeah. And there were about 4 of us that did it.
That does sound like a huge scandal back then. Like, Dad, I can't play. Why? Well, we got drunk and got sunburned, and we're not playing. Like,
And I consider myself a tough son of a bitch. And I can play through anything, but I'm telling you, this burn, it was like I was in a 5-alarm fire.
That's so gnarly.
I couldn't play. I couldn't move.
Oh, well, you've just been in Alaska for 3 months.
So
Yeah.
gnarly, dude.
Brett, awesome
Thank
stuff
you.
as always. Have a great week.
You got it, guys. Thanks.
That was Odyssey MLB Insider Bret Boone. Insider calls are presented by Grainger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. I love that I can tee up anything with Brett, and he's got something for you. Alaska, yeah, I got something for you there.
What's that movie? What's that movie with Al Pacino? And it's the sun, or the sun never sets, and he loses his mind. He doesn't sleep for like weeks. It's pretty much how I live. Insomnia, I think it might be called. It's really, really good. But yeah, it's all I think about. That sun stays out for 40 days or something.
Yeah, 2002, Insomnia.
It's
Robin
really,
Williams, Hilary Swank.
Really good movie. But you see him go crazy.
I didn't know they put aluminum foil on their windows to block the light coming in, so you could sleep at night.
You heard him. They played a game at midnight, and it was sunny. It messes with you. So good.
All right, we have 1 hour left. Paulie's got a Reindl Report, including details on a new music festival. Well, not an old music festival. It's coming back.
Yeah. This is interesting.
Coming up next on 97.3 The Fan.
you guys know the record for the Rally Roach is a robust 28-14. If you don't know the story, what was the date? It happened in July.
It was a Thursday right after the All-Star break.
Yep, and there was a giant, massive roach in here. In my mind, he was 6 inches long, 4 inches wide.
Weighed about 20 pounds.
Hissed, flew, the whole thing.
It was with the hissing cockroaches. Yeah.
And he was in the studio, and we flipped out. It happened right in the open of the show. And so my kids they like to do little pranks. And so they had a bunch of these rolling roaches around the house. So I brought one in. And the Padres have gone 28-14 since the roach. Now, I was talking to a guy at the Padre game the other day. He's like, oh, man, the Rally Roach always makes me laugh. And I said, yeah. He goes, you guys should do shirts. And then I go, we can't. I go, the minute we put it on a shirt, it's going to go downhill.
You don't think we thought of that?
Yeah,
of
the
course.
day it happened, I'm like, let's make a shirt.
That weekend, we were drawing up designs.
And I'll tell you, I said, you know, my biggest fear is if we put out the Rally Roach shirt and they drop 7 in a row, and then we're the new.
That's what's in.
Then it's Ben and Woods. I'm not making any big sudden movements this year. You'll notice. No faith healers, no nothing. Just no sudden movements. Just going to plow through it. But that's a really solid record for the Rally Roach. 28-14, that's no joke.
We respect the Rally Roach.
100%.
But we're not
beholden to
Beholden,
him?
yes,
Yeah.
good word.
Well,
Beholden to the Rally Roach.
You know, I chewed him out a little bit yesterday
You were
before
ready
the game.
I
was ready to stomp him out.
Now, to be fair, they lost on Saturday and Sunday when we're not here with the
To
Roach.
kiss it.
We kissed it on Friday, they won. We kissed it yesterday, they won.
Yep.
Do we need to
We
take
just
it home
kissed
with us
it
on the
again.
weekend?
Yeah,
Somebody
it's
take it
possible,
home?
yeah.
I think maybe. And that my kids, I told you, put this one in my wallet. So I now carry around a smashed up rubber cockroach in my wallet, which is weird when I go to gas stations and pull my wallet out. But yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not going to make any big sudden movements. But 28-14, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Padres do rally quite well this season.
They do.
They are known for their rallies.
They're like cockroaches, man. They never go away.
Yeah, and
they never go away.
Well, yesterday the power bat, the 3-run home run, 2-run home run was the thing. Manny also had it was a very typical rally where Manny drove in the 2 with the bases loaded single off the pitcher's backside or back or shoulder or wherever it hit him.
How's that guy feeling today?
Not great.
Ball was ripped.
Now, do you think, just off topic a little bit, but was that ball going to be an out until it hit the pitcher and then deflected away from the second baseman? Because he almost got it on the dive.
Yeah, maybe.
And it looked like it got further away from him. So, we talk about the good breaks and the bad breaks, and we wondered yesterday, are the breaks starting to turn against the Padres? Well, I would argue yesterday's game, Padres had some good breaks like that hit. There was a couple line drives late against the bullpen that went right to Donovan Solano.
Yep.
That helped them escape a couple of jams that were getting a little dicey to let the Mariners back into the game. The breaks are going to come and they're going to go. That's just how it goes in a baseball season. But the Padres keep putting themselves in position to win games.
That's it.
They don't win every single one of them, but pretty much every day they put themselves in a position where they're a hit away, a play away, where they can win these games.
That's been the mantra all season long. So, yeah, really well done, Roach.
Keep it up tonight.
Keep it up.
All right, we'll look ahead to tonight's game a little bit later. Right now, though, Paulie's got some headlines for us in the Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
Right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just a quick story in sports here before we have a little bit of fun this morning. It's kind of funny, but so Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne went on a podcast this week. I believe this was yesterday, and he was talking about criticism that he gets from fans after losses or after a poor performance. You know, we've had plenty of examples over the years, and don't do this usually, of, hey, you don't go racial, don't go after family members just because you lost a fantasy game or something.
Don't write them at all.
Ever.
Don't write them at all.
Hey, I lost fantasy football this week because you threw 3 interceptions.
I think it's safe if you want.
Come on.
I really believe this. I do feel like it's. You want to tag a player in something, make it positive, right?
I think so.
You know, there's no. I don't. It's like you're telling an elite athlete.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to throw out honest opinions, you can mention the guy, but don't tag him.
Yeah.
Criticize
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well,
the DMs are gnarly. It's so toxic.
This is taking it to another level. So Peyton Thorne went on, it's called The Next Round, and he said that some of the criticism that he's received has included people finding him on Venmo and requesting money because they lost bets due to his performance.
Can't people just be normal?
He said they're definitely not sending cash. Through he had 4 interceptions on Saturday in their 21-14 loss to Cal. He said it's funny when they lose money, they want their money back. They request it from me, but when they win money on a parlay, no one's ever sent me anything.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. They're not. You know, Manny hits the home run last night. Padres win. I'm not sending Manny $100 or whatever. And I'm not going to ask him for $100 if one rolls between his legs and they lose the game. It's baseball.
Do gamblers not realize that for every athlete who has cost them a bet, he's also won someone else a
Correct.
bet?
That's exactly right.
If they're doing it right, there's always going to be about the same amount of money on both sides.
You know, and it's funny. Like, I had a golf legacy pool. Costs like $300 to get in at the beginning of the season. You have to pick a winner. You can't use the same winner twice. Well, I had a lot of help this season. I finished second place, and I won a good amount of money. Took care of my old friend over here who helped me out this season.
Thanks.
I would call him. I sent him money because he helped me win. So I did what they don't do.
Would you have Venmo requested me had you lost? Like, hey, all your picks didn't help me. Give me $50 to cover part of this entry fee that you helped me lose.
Now there is one pick that Ben helped me make that absolutely murdered me for the season, and I would have finished first if I didn't pick
I didn't get a Venmo request from you,
and I'm not bitter about it because you helped me win so much more than that one absolutely horrific pick down the stretch when I needed it most. I still greased him his $100.
So the Auburn quarterback, he was kind of joking about this, like he was making
he's
light
lighthearted.
of it. But the NCAA is like absolutely monitoring this, especially with kids able to accept and make money now.
Yeah.
They are absolutely watching this, and I'm reading from ESPN. They have there's an AI company called Signify that the NCAA, they're a partner, they use them, and this company found that 1 in 3 high-profile college athletes do receive messages from people with like betting interests, whether it's...
I thought it would be 3 of 3.
Yeah?
Literally. I thought it would be 3 of 3.
Like people reaching out, trying to...
Don't you think that the athlete wants to win even more than you want to win your bet?
Yes.
He definitely does.
Definitely.
That's the thing. Like they don't need extra incentive or pressure from you because you bet on them. They already want to do well.
I'm telling you, man, it's the social media for kids in sports. It's absolutely toxic. Toxic.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on, break away from sports for a second. Benny teased it in our last segment, a music festival. Now, I'm trying to remember exactly when the first rendition of Fire Festival was. I think it was like 2016, 2017. You've seen, there's so many like documentaries on it now. We don't have to rehash everything that went into that, but it was an absolute scam. All the social media influencers like Kylie Jenner and people like that with millions of followers hyping up this festival, this music fest in the Caribbean on a private island. It's going to be exclusive. It's going to be luxurious. And
great idea in theory.
Yeah, in theory. And then you got there and they had like a couple of porta potties, cheese sandwiches, like no water. I mean, it was horrible. In fact, it was so bad that the guy that founded it, Billy McFarland, went to prison. Like, he just got out like in the last year or so. And he's already announced Fire Festival 2. And
if at first you don't succeed,
This is called recidivism.
try and try. Yes, he clearly learned nothing.
And I saw this headline actually a couple of days ago, I think on Sunday, and I didn't include it in the Reindl Report because I was kind of waiting for more details. Surely there's got to be more information. It's been 48 hours. There's still very little information on this other than it's going to be on a private island in the Caribbean. And they do have the dates. It's happening April 2025. And tickets are going from anywhere between $1,400 to over $1 million. They had their first wave of pre-sale passes sold out immediately.
How?
They have not announced a single
Not
act,
any artist.
none. And literally, that's all the information that is out there. And people are like, "Here you go. Here's my money."
I don't care how bad it is this time and how horrific it gets. Anyone who spends money on this now deserves to lose their money.
Correct.
Yes.
At this point.
Yeah. People are going to get away with what you let them get away with.
Yeah.
And then it's on you. I no longer feel bad for those people.
The first batch of people, sure.
Yeah.
But now, this batch of people, no, that's on you. You buy the tickets, it's on you. Then now the joke will probably be on everybody else, and it'll be the most spectacular, incredible festival in history.
Tickets for the controversial event range, $1,400 to a staggering $1.1 million. McFarlane said that the pricier options can include luxury yachts, scuba diving, island hopping.
Can also include a threesome.
I mean, this guy, he has millions of dollars in debt.
Yeah.
He just got out of jail because of the first festival. And I'm going, surely if you bought tickets to this already or want to buy tickets, you know what happened in the first one. I'm like, what are you doing?
You're he can't possibly.
Headliners can include
Article sound system.
Yeah, they sold, they opened a very limited amount. I think it was 100 tickets about a year ago when they were first discussing Fire Festival 2. Sold out like that. Just
it would be
gone.
The most elite
Food options range from lobster thermidor, can include lobster thermidor, or cheese sandwiches.
It would be the most elite radio content of all time if we actually went. I'd actually like to send.
Could
Chris
we be
Ello.
invited as headliners?
Potentially.
Like
Just
we're
do a podcast.
we're the radio headliners for Firefest.
Anthony says it's going to be a better show than Oasis. I promise you it won't.
Maybe Oasis will be there.
You don't need to take shots at my beloved Oasis, Anthony. Okay? 400 million pounds these guys are set to make. 400 million pounds.
All right, then finally saw this earlier this morning. And a news story from Hotels.com.
Okay.
I thought, well, one of us is going to be staying in a hotel.
Ben
this week.
Higgins.
Actually,
That's me,
two
yeah.
of us will.
That
But
is
you'll be
me.
staying there for several days. Now, is this a nice hotel? Scale of 1 to 10. Where would you rank it?
7.
Okay.
Ben.
7 or 8.
Okay.
Not quite
It's
up
a
to your
Hyatt.
It's a
high
Hyatt,
standards.
Yes, it's a Hyatt. That's a upper end chain hotel.
Now, do you plan on getting room service?
It's
Do
not
you
a
ever get room
5-star.
service?
Paulie.
Have you ever
Turn
had
his
room
mic
service?
off. Turn his mic off. There's no effing way he's getting room service. There is no.
Do you think he's ever gotten
He
room
has before, against his will. It wasn't his idea.
All true. Room service is the most overpriced, disappointing way to eat when you're on vacation.
It's absolutely elite. Elite eating.
We're going to
Elite.
disagree
I
on
agree.
this.
I love room service.
Breakfast,
on
late
the
night
on
dinner.
the brunch, late night dinner.
And then you got the tray and the just sitting in your room forever.
No, you
No,
push
you
it
put
out
it
to the
outside
hall.
of the door, you idiot.
It's the greatest part about it. Like, here you go. Take that.
Well,
it's massively expensive, though. Massively.
It is.
Hotels.com.
So I'll have 2 eggs and bacon. That'll be $37.
They put out a list of the most unusual room service requests that hotels have reported. Number 1 on
Hold
this
on,
list.
real quick. This guy sleeps with the chicken cacciatore plate still in his room.
It's disgusting.
He goes to
No wonder you don't get room
This
service.
reeks.
You're
Like,
doing
why
it
am I
wrong.
doing this? He's gonna stick it outside. They come and get it for you. You don't even have to call them and tell them. They just come and get it.
I
Gone
hate that
when you wake
feeling.
up.
Like when you go to a
Garlic
hotel in
bread.
Vegas and you walk down the hallway, and there's just like every door, there's just like sitting there like old dishes. Like I don't like
Right,
that.
so you've seen that, so
So
why
you've
wouldn't
seen
you
it.
have put your dishes
I know,
out
but I
there?
just feel like I don't like it when they're out there. Like you
it's
should just
so
have
good.
it, just let them wait and take it away when they come and clean your room.
All right. Well, some of the most unusual requests for room service were an Evian water-filled bathtub.
Like pour it out of the bottles into the bathtub,
the
or fill
bathtub-
the bathtub with ice and then put the bottles in the bathtub.
No.
Not with ice. Just fill it with.
No. The specific request was so their child can bathe in the most pure water.
Bathe in Avion.
They should use Eco Water. Eco Water SoCal.
You do bathe in Eco
I bathe
water.
in it every day. Yeah.
Let's see, a customized.
What would that cost? Just a quick, estimate. Like, okay, a bathtub. How many bottles of
$3
bottled
a
water?
bottle?
Yeah.
At a hotel.
Hotels.
We're talking
$6
a bottle.
$6 a bottle
You
for
need
room service.
60 of them.
At least
Minimum.
80
No.
of them. 100
I
of
mean,
them.
they could charge.
Well, I'm talking about the big ones.
Yeah.
yeah,
You need
I mean,
60
It's like
of those big
$1,000
ones.
bathtub.
And then those are probably like $8 or $9 in room service.
Isn't it
at
cold?
least. I mean, that could be $1,000 just to fill a bathtub.
So stupid.
There was a customized allergen menu for their pet, like gluten-free, dairy-free. Somebody requested a caviar hot dog.
So would that be a hot dog with caviar on top, or instead of the hot dog, it's just a bun with caviar in it?
I think it's a hot dog with
caviar on top.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? Caviar sandwich.
Caviar sandwich.
It's absolutely repugnant.
Fresh goat milk.
Well, obviously. I mean, we got stale goat milk.
I've never asked for anything extra at a hotel.
No.
Never.
This person asked for 4 pounds of bananas.
Didn't want to cramp.
Room service. I need.
That's like 2 bunches. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
two bunch
it's not,
banana.
it's weird, but that's not insane.
Yeah, who is this person? Prince? Says, I need money. You know they make some funky ass requests. The Rolling Stones make some funky
Yeah, but
hotel
those the
requests.
writers that they put for
Not
their
the writer.
No, just hotel
Just
requests.
the hotel is it's like I've heard people like, oh, I need certain amount of fresh flowers and fruit, and I mean it's great if they give you a little extra, but stop being such a pain in the ass all the time. Everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paulie. Is that those are the weirdest ones?
Those are the weirdest ones. Yeah.
Any special requests at your Hyatt?
If you had to make a request, what would it be?
Will you do a breakfast buffet there?
No, because we're probably just getting up and going early to golf. So
Just grab
I don't even know if they do a buffet breakfast. I think that's more of a restaurant-y type breakfast.
I'm always fascinated by his trips. I'm fascinated. He doesn't give a lot, but I want more.
I just think you'd be
We've only
very.
stayed in a hotel with him like once.
I know, and he
I'm
ditched
very
us
boring. I'm
twice.
very boring.
So am I. Very boring. Be in my room
We stayed
watching
with
my
him
iPad.
the first year at spring training when he ditched us in the middle of
He
the night.
ditched us in the middle of
and
the
then
night.
last year, remember we got to our Airbnb at like 8 p.m. and it wasn't cleaned.
And we had to go
So we had to
somewhere
go
else.
to a Hampton Inn down the street.
Terrible.
Got that continental breakfast though.
Yeah, we did.
I did
That was
partake
nice.
of the continental breakfast.
I want more info about this trip coming up. I'm not buying exactly what he's selling right now. There's more to it.
I do like the hotel rooms that have a nice big tub.
You do,
especially when I'm on a golf trip, because then you
you
soak, get a nice soak in the tub, and it's just you in the room, so
Yeah,
you can just
it's nice. You can do whatever you want.
do whatever you want and enjoy your tub. It's fun.
Now I'm creeped out. I wasn't before, but now I am.
Carlos says, order Ben an escort to his room. I can get to my room just fine, Carlos. I don't need an escort. I'm good at following the directions on the maps in the rooms to find it myself.
I mean, we could arrange for
I can
that.
find it myself.
Ben thinks the girl's just there to show him which room is his.
All right. Is there any particular reason
You want
you're
how
still
much
here?
to escort me to my room?
Is there any reason that you're still here? Okay.
$300 just to escort me to my room.
That dress seems a little bit appropriate to just take me up to the 4th floor, but okay.
Can escort myself, thank you very much.
Do you ever have the people bring the luggage up to your room, or do you do it yourself?
Do it myself.
Yeah, I figured.
Of course you do.
Sometimes when they have
4 trips.
when you can just borrow their cart and take it yourself
The
with
cart bit. Pushing that thing through the lobby and getting on the elevator.
Those $5 tips start adding up
They
after a
do.
while.
They really do.
Has Ben ever broken up cash for tip money before a trip?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
God.
I always get in a pinch where all I have is 20s. I'm like, here you go.
It's the worst when you have to ask
Can you give me a 10 back?
the guy for change that you're
The
tipping.
worst.
It is such a bad feeling.
the worst.
Like, I'm not tipping you this whole thing.
The whole trip,
So
too.
you
I'll
need
see
to-
you like 4 days. Here's 20. Remember this face. Bring my car down.
All right. I didn't get to it last hour, so we will replay Jesse's Incorporator when we come back. I promise. We will then preview Game 2 of the series against the Mariners coming up next after traffic on 97.3 The Fan. Jesse Agler is a person who always keeps baseball from getting boring. And baseball is a lot of things, but it isn't boring. You can join our friend Rob Bradford on his podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring, every day. Rob taking you through the league, spotlighting what makes the game fun. You can find it on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. One thing that we do that's fun with Jesse every Tuesday is the Incorporator. Joined us yesterday, and Woods gave him the word gentacular, which means having to do with breakfast. Like coffee is a gentacular beverage.
Yep.
And I had never heard that word before, but
Me
it was a
neither.
pretty good one. And as always, Jesse, with flair, included it in last night's broadcast in the third inning. Paulie?
So yeah, June 5th, the last time the Padres played a road game in their own time zone. That was the nugget of the game presented by Chick-fil-A San Diego. With 21 restaurants in San Diego, you're never too far from the home of the original chicken sandwich. Come try the honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich for a limited time. We've had, rush hour baseball this year. We've had even in Korea, pre-gentacular baseball.
Yeah.
All hours of the day and night here in 2024.
That was
Runner on first, one out for a
Yeah,
rise.
pre-breakfast.
3 o'clock first pitch for the first game. Can you imagine? That was games 1 and 2. And now we are at game 147, I believe, tonight.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's flown by. It has flown by this year. I still can't believe it. Last year was dragging. This year is flying by. And it seems like just yesterday we were at the Rambler Motel and walking into a sea of San Diegans ready to watch the Dodgers and Padres at 7 Mile Casino. What a night. What a way to start the season.
And, Padres split those games. We're really a 500 team for the first, 100 games of the season.
Yeah.
50 and 50, right?
Yes.
The first 100 games of this season, this team was languishing at 500. Couldn't really escape the pull, the gravitational pull of 500. And then all of a sudden, the All-Star break hit, and they went on a nice 19-4 run.
That'll do it.
And, outside of that one run, they really have been a 500 team.
Yeah.
They're, 3 games above 500 outside of that 15 games above 500 run that they had.
That's all you need sometimes.
But that is.
Gets you a little cushion for the push.
That's why last year I kept going, they're going to be okay.
It's gonna happen.
Because they're going to have
do this.
They're going to have just one run out of 162 games. And then they finally did in the last, this time of year. This was when they were doing their 8-game winning streak and winning 14 of their last 16 games to climb above 500, but it was too late.
So great.
And they really weren't a 500 team. They were a below 500 team for most of last season. But that's why staying around 500 is important, because when you do go on your run, you can actually, get up with the top teams and the playoff teams in baseball like they did this year.
And it's happened to the Phillies. It's happened to the Yankees. It's happened to the Orioles. It's happened to all the Dodgers at times. I mean, yeah.
All of those teams have had long stretches where they've been no better than a 500
Yeah, they
team.
stack those early wins.
Now, the Mariners, who the Padres are playing tonight, should be one of those playoff teams, but they couldn't play 500 ball. They've played about 10 games under 500 since the All-Star break, and that's cost them. If they had just played 500 ball, they'd either be right there or in first place still against the Houston Astros, but they didn't. They played 10 games under, and now they've put themselves in a pretty bad spot. They lost a game in the standings. They're now 4 games back of the wild card, and they didn't lose a game to the Astros, who lost to the A's yesterday.
Yeah.
Mark Kotze pulling out the bunt game in extra innings. Did you see that? 3 straight bunts.
Yeah, 3 straight.
to score the winning run.
I know somebody that's very happy.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do. All right, we got one final segment left. Woods has a question for us.
Yeah, it's a question I wanted to ask. I saw it on Twitter yesterday. Should I ask it now? You guys can think about your answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then everyone can be thinking for our last segment.
I loved this. I saw some great comments yesterday. What's something people romanticize, but it's actually horrible? There's so much.
Yes.
About it.
All right. It's coming up in our final segment of Ben and Woods next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We tend to romanticize 7 Mile Casino.
We do.
But I think it lives up to all of our notions,
Yeah,
our
it
dreams.
delivers.
It does. It does deliver. Every single time I've been there, I've always had a really good time, whether I'm there sitting down at one of the great card tables, California-style blackjack, Texas Hold'em, Baccarat, Pai Gow, or whether I'm going to the restaurant at Sammy's, just enjoying some relaxation time. Always love my trips to 7 Mile Casino.
As do I, man. Every time I've won money at 7 Mile Casino. I've lost money at 7 Mile Casino. I have a great time every time I go. The food is spectacular. I couldn't recommend. I don't want to steal your thunder here, but the Kung Pao chicken is the most elite that you will have, and it really is.
There's nothing you like more than when someone takes your recommendation
and enjoys it.
Really enjoys that recommendation.
I really, really did, and I had the breakfast there. It was phenomenal, but I digress. The place is great. Go sit and play California-style blackjack in a smoke-free, very cool and upscale environment.
And it's so easy to get to. A lot of card rooms, I mean, you have to drive 45 minutes, an hour into the East County. And don't forget, you got to drive all the way back as well. When it's 7 Mile Casino, you're 7 minutes from downtown, just as close from a lot of other places in San Diego. Maximize your fun, minimize your time on the roadways. It's 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown. Well, Padres got the first game yesterday behind solid 5 innings from Yu Darvish, home runs from Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado, who set the all-time Padres home run record with his 164th, and good enough bullpen work at the end of the game to beat the Mariners 7-3. Now they go for the sweep of the 2-game series, and with Michael King on the mound, I was feeling very confident about those chances. And then I kind of looked at today's starter, Brian Wu, and I knew all of the Mariners starters are good, so this guy has been a quality start machine for the Mariners. You go through his game logs. He started his season in May, but once he got up to full innings, I mean, it is 6 innings, 0 runs, 6 innings, 3 runs, 6 innings, 0 runs, 6 innings, 0 runs, 5 2/3 innings, 2 runs, 7 innings, 0 runs, 6 2/3, 3 runs, 7 innings, no runs. He's had 2 bad starts in which he gave up 4 runs, both to the Angels. Other than that, guy has been really good this year. He's got an ERA under 3. His home ERA is 1.50.
Yeah, hasn't lost at home.
At T-Mobile. T-Mobile? Is that what they call it now? Safeco? I have trouble when they change the name of parks. I'm so glad that Petco Park has remained Petco Park, and they haven't changed it over the years.
Yeah, he's good, man. Nasty stuff.
Right-hander, young, yeah. Solid pitcher, which means Michael King will have to continue what he has done this second half and be one of the better pitchers in the game, because I would expect a low-scoring affair here tonight at T-Mobile Park.
Doesn't throw a lot of spinners at all. Throws he's basically, it's one of those weird guys that throws 2 different fastballs at you, so it can be challenging. Is this the 4-seam? Is this the 2-seam? He uses those. He's really a 4-seam guy, kind of a power arm, Benny, but he'll mix that 2-seamer in on the hands on those righties, and yeah, they're all, they're all really good. They're starters, but Padres have handled guys like him. I'm not too worried about it.
And they got to you for the couple of solo shots yesterday, and there are a couple of guys who are certainly dangerous if they get a hold of one.
Their lineup looks scarier than it's
certainly produced,
born out, right? Like, it looks pretty solid, 1 through 9. You look at it and go, I don't see a lot of scrubs in here.
Michael King has been really hard to square up, especially second half of the season. The hard hit rate is extremely low, and the Mariners basically only score when they barrel the ball up. They don't put together a lot of rallies, a bunch of hits together. That's not been their MO. They're okay. I think they're 12th or 13th in home runs, so occasionally, like last night, they'll get a hold. You just hope no one's on base when it happens. But Michael King has been really tough to square up this year.
Any consternation at all about the bullpen? I saw people saying, this going to those high leverage guys with that big lead. Again, I mean, what did you say earlier? You had a good quote. Something about taking the opportunity, but those opportunities are wins.
I said there will be consequences to using your back end of your bullpen, and hopefully those consequences include winning a World Series.
Well, right.
Because, I mean...
Well, and even in Mike Schilt's case, when he's done it, they've mostly equated to wins. When he's been very aggressive with the bullpen, and you look at it with the off day tomorrow, I don't know that you see Tanner Scott again today. I don't know that you see Jason Adam today. I don't know that you see Robert Suarez again. Certainly, after 18 pitches, you probably could.
Estrada, absolutely. He threw like six pitches.
You got Hoeing fresh. You got Morihone fresh. You got Wandy fresh. You got Yuki fresh. You got Alec Jacob fresh. Your bullpen's still pretty solid. You're going to need all those guys to win games.
Yeah, I mean, even if you do pitch Scott, he hasn't been as effective the second day of back-to-back, so I think you should definitely be careful. I mean, if it really came down to it, you probably could ask him to go out there because there's a day off tomorrow, which means who knows how many days, you're going to be able to get him off. But there's an aggression to Mike Schilt. When he sees a win in front of him, he tries to take it.
100%.
And I've come to actually appreciate that about Mike Schilt.
And again, I can't worry what it's going to look like in October. I can't. I can't put myself through that because that's not how it works. You got to get those wins to get there. You have an opportunity to seize one. You make the moves. You do it. Yeah, there's been some where I'm like, all right, maybe this was unnecessary, but it's also a matter of who do I trust? Who do I trust? It wasn't a good outing for Tanner Scott.
I mean, there was one game in Kansas City when they were left with Yuki late in the game because they'd used their bullpen too much. This was before the trade deadline, before the new guys. And yes, cost them that game that day.
Well, and hey, listen, in the beginning part of the season, before you had Adam and Scott and some of the other dudes in there, and Hoeing and some of the Estrada had established himself. Yes, Robert Suarez was the only guy he trusted. I'm surprised he didn't go to him for 8-out saves earlier in the season, as bad as the bullpen was. Remember, they were rolling through it with Steven Kolek and all kinds of guys like that.
What we don't know and will never know is had Mike Schilt been a little more conservative with his back end of the bullpen, how many games would he have lost?
I know.
By saving those guys. We don't know. We don't know the answer to that.
If there's blood in the water, man, I think you got to eat. I really do. It's certainly a different philosophy than we've seen here in the past.
All right, repeat your question here before we get to traffic one more time.
All right, one more time.
What is something that we romanticize?
That people romanticize, but it's actually horrible.
We'll do that right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Seems the North County's been having its share of problems, guys. Now we got to cross the coastline, northbound 5, right past Santa Fe Drive. It's got the right lane blocked, and still clearing an accident from the Sycamore Avenue on-ramp to westbound 78. Southbound side of the 15 past Auto Parkway. Got a collision over to the right shoulder. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So when you said this, it made a lot of sense to me because we always make things a little better, I think, in our minds than they truly are in reality. It's probably a healthy thing, actually. You don't want to be thinking the worst of everything all the time. It's nice to have an idealized image in your mind of something.
Sure.
But, yeah, sometimes reality is very disappointing.
The one that got me was when they asked the question yesterday, somebody tweeted it, and they said camping.
Oh,
and
I
wrote, thank you for saying this.
I was literally that was mine.
I think people do romanticize camping. I would go out on a limb and say, and I know there are people that love to camp. Certainly, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but you've never had a good night's sleep in a tent. The temperature's never been perfect. You've never been comfortable in a tent. I think I can say that accurately. It has
I've had
not
a lot
been
of great night sleeps in hotels, though.
Oh, I've had so many good night sleeps in hotels.
From what I can remember, and it's been a long time since I've gone camping, but you endure
it.
Like 80 to 90% of it for those truly good moments where you're around the fire.
Yeah.
And, you're just kind of shooting the breeze with everybody and having a
Some
drink.
hotels have fire pits, too.
Yeah.
They do.
I mean, that's
different.
you're enduring to get to the one or two little good moments.
The camping, the act of going to a cool national park and setting up a tent is cool. That's fun. Your kids love it, I'm sure. My kids will never know the feeling. But
maybe later in life.
Maybe they can go with their friends. But the getting into the tent, getting into a sleeping bag, zipping it up the side, and laying there. You can have a pad down below, whatever. You've never had a good night's sleep. It has not been ideal. Unless you're hammered. He had a bottle of Jack Daniels. Then maybe you pass out anyway.
I don't know.
Pass out in a chair.
The last thing I'd want to be is hungover on a camping trip outside.
It's the worst. It's absolutely the worst. So I think that's one that often gets romanticized.
All right. I had a couple of thoughts on this. Black and white movies.
100%.
The classics, as they like to say. Oh, they don't make them like they used to. You know why? Because they were terrible.
I can't watch it. I can't do it.
Awful.
When they put new movies out in black and white, I'm not watching.
Even the old one, even the old classics, I just find just to be horribly boring.
We've really romanticized. Films are so much better now. They're
so much
better now. That's a good one. Walking on the beach.
Yeah, I mean, walking on the beach is okay.
Seems like
spending the entire day on the beach, that's basically camping.
Pretty much. You guys can call us with yours, 833-288-0973 if you want.
There's a good one. K-Cheek says, penny arcades.
Penny arcades. Those games are much better now than they used to be.
I'm going to go with the McRib sandwich.
People do.
People romanticize the McRib, and they wait for it to come back every year and worry that it's never returning. But in reality, it's a very, very poor excuse for a barbecue sandwich.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it's the best you can get, though. Like it's the only thing available.
All right.
You know? I'll eat one a year.
A lot of people in our chat say have said Disneyland.
Yeah, I disagree.
I
always
also
have fun.
disagree.
I always have a good time at Disneyland.
I mean, there are challenges.
Massive challenges.
I mean, the walking, the lines,
The parking.
and the parking.
The lines.
Yes.
But if done right, it can be a really fun day. I really enjoy Disneyland much more than I thought I would as a dad of two little boys that really like Disneyland. I don't dread going there like, oh, this is going to be a nightmare. No, I actually always have fun.
This is going to sound horrible from me in particular.
I can't wait.
Considering what I'm about to do and what I do for the 95% of my recreation, golf.
We romanticize the hell out of golf. Yeah. We really do. You're right.
In reality, it's like
horrible.
98% of the time I leave feeling very disappointed in what I just did. And yet I keep going back for that 2% of the time that it actually lives up to my hopes.
Curtis is right. Music festivals. Boy, they sound good.
Oh.
And when you get your ticket for a big festival, you're so excited to get out there until you actually get out there. And then when you're done on Sunday or Monday or whatever, you're like, that was horrible. I couldn't hear. I could barely get to the stage to see my favorite artist. I missed it. The walk was 3 miles to the venue. It was dusty. We had a dust storm. You know, did way too much of something. I didn't eat enough. I ate like crap. I mean, it's really a horrible experience when you're done. You feel like you got in a wreck.
Can you do the one from Mark Qwerty, OG?
I don't see it. Where is it?
You don't see it? Right between Carlos and Charisma there?
No.
Fine, I'll say it. Relations in the shower.
100%. Massively overrated. Romanticized, certainly. Like in the movies and whatever. Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of acts.
Hot tub, too.
Acts that you've seen and think it's going to be great.
Beach, hot tub, shower. How did I see that? I don't know why I can't see that. Oh, you're in the different chat.
Yes, that's probably it.
Some holidays.
Well, not Memorial Day.
Not
which
Memorial
is your
Day
favorite.
for you.
What do you have planned for today?
Yeah,
I know this is
Patriot
your
Day.
second favorite holiday, I'm sure.
And when I came in this morning, Paulie said, Happy 9/11 to you. I said, no, Paulie, remember, we don't do that on 9/11.
Valentine's Day. Super
terrible.
romanticized.
Yeah. Super.
Sucks.
It's literally romanticized. Yeah.
And it sucks. The holidays, the holiday season, like December alone is great. I love it, but it can be very stressful.
Everyone should have their own Valentine's Day. But when everyone has to do it on the same day, and every restaurant is booked, and every flower shop is charging triple the price, and it's horrible. It really is. It's horrible.
Yeah, it really is a nightmare. I'm in birthday / anniversary. Our anniversary is a week after Hannah's birthday, which is on Sunday. And we're doing we do the traditional gifts. You know what the traditional gift is?
For what year?
7.
7.
Copper and wool.
Copper and wool.
I guess copper and or copper ore.
Sounds like a very, pennies?
Pennies, not good. Wool.
Sweater and some pennies.
Look where we live. A sweater with pennies on it.
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah.
Blinged out with pennies.
Now, like our buddy Will Holder's saying, look, I love camping. This is great. He sends me a picture of the woods. That looks great. You're walking through nature. You're in the woods. It's fantastic. There's nothing better. When you go to sleep that night, you're like, son of a bitch, I wish I was in a bed. I wish I was in a bed.
Goose says a sock filled with pennies, which, have you ever tried to put on a wool sock in San Diego?
Wool. What am I going to get this woman?
That's something you beat people with. It's a sock filled with pennies.
And copper. Here's a copper pipe. What do they even use?
You get one of those
for?
healing bracelets, right?
Oh,
they're
she'd love
copper.
that. Yeah.
Seems like a Hannah gift,
those
right?
totally work. They totally work.
They say people swear by those copper bracelets.
Well, so you're out tomorrow and
I am.
Friday. I guess I'll just do the Mike Schilt interview solo.
Oh.
Gonna miss out on
I think it's going to go well.
Yeah, should be great. Should be great.
Especially if they win today, because
Sure
there's
hope
no
they win
game on
tonight.
Thursday.
Sure hope they win tonight.
You have a perfect week to talk about if they win tomorrow.
Yeah.
2-0.
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
Hey, we're great, Mike. How are you? Ben's out today. He's playing golf.
It's really cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. Cool for all of us. Have a great trip.
Thank you.
We tell Scott we say hello.
Thank you. I will see you guys on Monday morning.
You're going to be so sore on Monday.
Probably.
So much golf. Control yourself out there, all right?
But mentally, I'll be ready for the last 2 weeks of the season when I come back.
Here we go. Crunch time.
All right, Annie and Elston are coming up next. Paulie and Woods will be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. For Paul Reindl, our executive producer and imaging director, and Stephen Woods, you're still in the chat. That's a long time for you. I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Wednesday from all of us at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.